Everybody calls me Tony. If you think that you want to add my surname, it is Asari. So everybody calls me Tony Asari. If you have a problem with it, like this man has a problem with it, please tell me what the problem you have with that. You have a problem with that. You don't feel comfortable, right? Good. Now I want us to be on first name basis. So that is rule 1. The regulation 1 is that we are going to be on first name basis. Are you okay? Good. Regulation 2. Whatever I say, don't believe it. Verify. No matter what I say, verify. Just believe that, oh, Charlie, this guy, Charlie, if he happens to say, Charlie, he dey job, but he really don't know the thing, will make me check. Do you understand? Anytime I give you information, so don't put your phones off, put it on silence, right? Anytime you are not comfortable, Google it, check it, go to some website, and then you'll be able to verify whether the information I give you is correct. If you have a problem with that, raise your hand. Then the third rule is that when you say the correct thing, we'll clap for you. When we say the right thing, we'll clap for you. Why should we do that? Adriana?
To encourage everyone to.
Okay. Now, so far, we haven't had 100% pass in this exam. What it simply means is that you can pass, you can fail. You understand? It's nothing. It is just your effort. Now, I want you to pay attention. For a very long time, this particular subject was not examinable, right? But it has been one of the roots of some of divisions within the Ghana Institute of Architects. So I said that Tony Asari, I want to come and teach this. So I am very passionate about it, but I may be wrong with the things that I teach. So today we are going to talk about the Architects Act. Any questions? Any questions, please? Oh, nobody get any question? Addison, what question do you have? Ask a question. I mean, look, even if it is not intelligent, we'll accept it. Ask a question. What are your expectations? Yes, good. What are your expectations in the Architects Act?
Obviously, it wasn't examinable.
Yes.
But now you examinable.
No, it's not. I think I know. You see, some questions. Out of 80 people attempted it, right? And only 3 passed. Oh.
So my question, the exam.
No. We've been testing it for the past 3-4 years. So you are not guinea pigs. You don't look like one. You have to write one or be practicing properly.
I read the Architects Act and I see NLCD. Yes. So the Architects Act that I read was NLCD 357. But I see 1/4 whether
Yes, professional bodies registrations. So we start now. See that we have Ghana Architects and the Architects Registrations Council. Tell what are these 2 bodies? I think these 2 bodies are its own executive by a law in Parliament. All right. So if you hear any day that they say, Tony Asari is the Ghana Institute of Architects president, and he says that the year has come to an end, his term has come to an end, and he says he won't organize elections, right? I can be arrested. Are you aware of that? Can you imagine who is listening to what is happening in Senegal? Can somebody tell me what's happening in Senegal and elections? What's the president of Senegal? What's the name of the president of Senegal? Oh, Google it. I thought we all agreed that when we don't know, we will Google. What's the name of the president of Senegal? He's called Macky Sall. You heard what he has done? Has any of you heard what Macky Sall has done? Nobody. If you know, raise your hand. Yeah. What have you found out? Yes. What have you found out? Nobody Googled and found out. Okay, so elections are supposed to take place this year by in Senegal. After they have I think a 7-year or 5-year term or something like that, and you can run to maximum 2 terms. So Macky Sall has actually done 10 years now, and then elections were supposed to happen in February or so, and then by April they were supposed to hand over to the next president, and he said no, the elections would not happen in February but rather in December, and that the people who seem to be coming up for the presidency, according to him, they are not correct. You see, do you think Nana Addo can do that in this country? You say never. Did you ever join any of the demonstrations, Occupy Ghana and all those things? I joined all those demonstrations. I joined them, and I'll tell you why we must be interested in governance, and it's all about these things. Now, the professional association is guided by a law, and I would advise you, I'll be mentioning a lot of law just from my head. My hard disk is full, but it is likely that sometimes I may not get some of the things right. But section 109 or section 108 of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana says that professional bodies must be regulated, and the selection of the leadership and how that whole organization is run must be run in a democratic way. Do you get it? So what it simply means is that if we want to choose our leaders, we must do what? Elect them democratically. So the moment anybody comes that, oh, Charlie, no, I've been finished doing my thing, I don't want to hand over. That is not. But when there is a problem within the Ghana Institute of Architects, our regulator who is there must come up and say that, no, this is not the proper way of doing things, and somebody must put in check. Now, the regulator, which is the Architects Registration Council, is guided by a set of laws. They have a board, they have all sorts of things. Now, that's why you are supposed to read the act and get to know it for yourself. But I'll break it down for you to see. Now, the whole thing is this, that if this act that we have would tell you that when you do one or you commit any illegality or infractions, these are the penalties that is involved. So there are even penalties that when you commit, if you go wrong or you carry out a certain illegality, as an architect, you can go into prison. You can go to prison. You understand what I'm saying? So basically, this is what we are going to talk about today. Now, the difference between the two is that whilst the GIA is the professional body, it is regulated by the Architects Registration Council. I am very proud of the ARC. One of the things is that logo there, I designed it. I designed it in 1997. I had finished school fresh. I was just about to write my GIA, and they said that, oh, they want to, the ARC was being set up. So initially we were using the logo of Funtuma Funum. I don't know if you know the Funtuma Funum logo. Those architecture planning logo. KNUST. Have you seen it before? The Siamese lizard. Yes. So I had a discussion with Professor Wellington, and he said, no, let's explore the Dinkra patterns. Let's find out which logo best suits regulation. Now, who can tell me the Dinkra pattern of what you have in the middle of the Architects Registration Council? You can Google it. Oh, you can Google it too. Oh. What is the name of that Edinkra pattern there? Yep. Who has found it? Yeah, we know. We what?
Ohene Niwa.
Ohene Edniwa. The eyes of the king. The eyes of the king. That the eyes of the king looks in all directions. The eyes of the king looks in all directions. So we settled on this logo, and we nominated Professor Milstetti. If who knows the late Professor Milstetti? Yep. Who knows the late Professor Milstetti? So he died quite a couple of years back. I think 3 or 4 years back. So Professor Milstetti was the first registrar of the Architects Registrations Council, followed by Mrs. Stella Atiaba. And after Mrs. Stella Atiaba, we have, what's the name of the registrar? Pardon me? Ish, ask the doctor, boy. Say it again, say it properly. Say it and say it properly.
Dr. Iyabuchi.
Me, you can call me Tony Azari. So I beg. Now, Dr. Iyabuchi is our third registrar. But over the period, we've had a very sketchy, very difficult immediate past before Dr. Iyabuchi came up. We had a fight because the registrar, the GIA felt that the registrar had outlived the time she was supposed to be there, and they said no, they can be there. And so we went all the way to the presidency, and then before we were able to remove her. Now the question is, why should we get to the point? No, it's something which we have been struggling with, because it has divided the GIA for some time now. Okay. Now, the simple reason is that the law wasn't properly understood by all of us. Now, so we thought that it is very important that in order to bring clarity at this level, when you are becoming architects, let's all learn the law. Let's understand what the law stands for. And then when we understand it, we would be able to protect our architecture better. You understand what I'm saying? So that if somebody today, Jude is here, then say that, oh, Tony, Charlie, charges be too high. Charlie, the 4-bedroom house, you're charging $5,000. Charlie, bring $2,000 and let me do it. I'll do it for you. And Jude comes and collects my PP. Meanwhile, Charlie, I was relying on that one for my small school fees. Why, if it is cheaper for the client to go to Jude, why is it wrong for the job to leave me and go to Jude? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because Jude can get to my level. I'm not going to be teaching this thing forever. I'm sure after some 3, 4, 5 years, somebody else will come and teach this. You understand what I'm saying? None of us will last forever. So the Architects Registration Council is a regulator that's subvented by government. However, the rules and the laws that we have there is not even exhaustive. The Architects Registration Council has got the capacity to even do laws on its own, which we call bylaws. You understand? Now, so we have bylaws, we have the regulation, whatever, we have how it is composed, and a whole lot of other things. So today, basically, we are going to talk about that. What's the time? 1:48, 38. Okay, so we've done roughly 50 minutes. So now, Sam Bachman Fred who is he? Can we Google and find out who he is? Pardon me. The founder of FTX. What is FTX?
It's a crypto platform, cryptocurrency platform.
Now, what happened to Bachman Fred?
He was arrested in jail because what he did, he took money from a lot of people, promising he was going to give something back to the people, but he didn't do that.
What did he want to give?
He wanted to give them extraordinary profit.
Okay. So basically, what he was doing was that he was using, he was the one behind digital cash. And he was promising, there's this thing of this digital money that everybody just thinks that money can be. And it's all an American thing. You can't go and create digital money in China. If you create it in China, they will duplicate it, triplicate it, and then you know that you're in trouble. So this guy is just one huge crook. At a point, he was all over the place, and they thought that Charlie. Then he read, because he kept talking about it, making it look, I'm telling you that there is cash. The stock, plenty money. The guy started buying wild stuff. Look, his houses, millions of dollars. The guy was chilling. His paintings, his artworks. I mean, I'm sure the only person he couldn't have afforded was the guy who nobody knows, but he paints on the, what was his name? Banksy. Yes, but he bought. Read about him. Now, it says that I wish we were perfect, but no one is. No one is perfect. That is why, let me see, Ashasi University has got some creed. And, my last daughter goes to Ashasi, and I always tell her that, you people, you are fraudulent. Said, oh, that isn't it. I said, okay, look, you have to be straight. Ashasi University has got a creed that you sign, that you will not be invigilated when you are writing exams, right? So you are self-governing, when you are writing exam, and that you won't cheat. So I asked them that, is it because everybody is perfect that you think you won't cheat? Say me, if the guys are not there, I'll cheat. Look, make up your mind. If I have to cheat, I will cheat. So make up your mind. The reason why we have police stations is not because everybody is a criminal. We have police stations so that we can say that nobody is what? Simple. Let me see those who believe in TV Joshua. Oh, raise your hand. Let me see the TV Joshua hand. So, if there is anything we are doing that a regulator doesn't want, you don't have to sue us. Just reach out and tell us what you want. You understand what I'm saying? So, he was telling them that if they are doing something the regulator doesn't want it, tell him, hey, you are stealing people, you are creating fake money. They are saying, they said, well, if you don't want it, tell me. If you don't want it, we'll beat you. That kind of thing. But because I am not perfect, you guys, there's nobody who is perfect. Even the Wesley girls. Where are the Wesley girls people? You went to Wesley girls. Now, Samuel Benjamin Bachman Fried, born on 5th March 1992. I was in 3rd year then. Is an American entrepreneur who was convicted of fraud and related crimes in November 2023. Bachman Fried founded the FTX cryptocurrency exchange and was celebrated as a kind of poster boy for cryptocurrency. At the peak of his success, he was ranked the 41st richest American in the Forbes 400, and it was fraud. Meanwhile, you see the way the media picked him up. They were talking about, you go and check on the news and read about him. So then anytime you ask, when people come and they want to practice, you want to do anything, they look at the gray areas. And then when the Lord really doesn't catch them, then what do? They blossom there. Last year, I was signing on a project, a state project, as an employer's rep. And we went into some very interesting negotiations with the company. The company is based in Ghana. The MD is Israeli. And they used a local Ghanaian architect who I knew very well, very vibrant young guy, solid guy. Then, when we signed the contract, then I requested for the full complement of the consultants. Then I got a list of consultants, all of them Egyptians, geotech, Egyptian surveyors, Egyptian electrical engineers, mechanical engineers. So then I called one of the guys, Stefan, I've seen your this thing, yes, I'm responding. Please, they should show me their registration in Ghana, whether they are qualified to practice in Ghana. Under Ghana law, they should show me the ID card and everything. If you show it to me, the people work. You know what the guy said? The guy said, oh, but we've always done it. I said, don't be silly. Over my dead body. Who do you think you are? I was so furious. Why? Because you know, that's all these guys are doing. And you guys sit there. Me, I'll get my money. I'll look for my money. And I'm very aggressive about it. These guys just, whenever they get the job, they use Ghanaian qualification. When they get it, they give you $10,000. Then they park you. Then they bring the guys. And look, when they come, they look for the meaning of the word condescending. No, you people, you be Gen Z people, they hear brofo pass me. What's condescending? You go to Wesley Girls?
I did.
Yes. You did. Tell it, clap for her. When they say something condescending, what does it mean? Google it. If something is condescending, what does it mean? SCENDING.
To look down upon someone.
Yes. Addison, where did you go to secondary school? Prempeh College. Those people. Santasi Secondary School. You know, my son, when I asked him what secondary school he wanted to go, I went to Accra Academy and Presec. So I asked him, Charlie, where you want to go to school? He said, Daddy, I don't want any school in Accra. I said, but where? He said he wants to go to Prempeh. I said, Charlie, but if you tell my friends that you are going to Prempeh, they will laugh at you. He said, oh, they should. So he went to Prempeh. Now, when he's here and he's clapping his hands, it's like the people, they drink diesel. Strong boys. What is the meaning of condescending?
I'm reading.
Yes. Read.
Having or showing an attitude of patronizing superiority.
Now, fact, a lot of these guys are superior. They are superior because they come from a place where better technology, better working environment, and this thing. But if there were more jobs there, they won't be coming here. So we have more jobs here than they do. So what do? We protect our jobs. You understand what I'm saying? Now, so it is very important that you let your people know that looking for money to become Forbes 400 or Ghana's Forbes 4,000, you want to be at least number 3,099. It's a huge thing. So I beg, we are going to go through quite a lot. I mean, it might stretch a bit, 3 hours, but we'll go through. But I want you to walk out of this lecture, walk out of this exam, knowing that the law is this, and that is what backs you. You understand what I'm saying? Professional practice exams and these things assumes that you know how to draw. That nobody has asked you how to render. There is no question that will ask you how you render a 3D. This question is about practice, and the practice is about law and how you fit into this country from the borders of Accra to Paga, from Elubo to Aflao. This is our law, and that's what we are going to talk about. And it is for people like this who will come and tell you that, look, if you think that, well, this is not what it is, tell us what it is. So when these guys came and they brought all these stuff, I forwarded to them forms from the website of the Access Registration Council that they should register and come and register at the ARC, first come to Ghana Institute of Architects and go to ARC and pay $2,500 each, so that if they want to come and practice in Ghana, and when they are coming, they should come with their partners, because you need a local partner to register the company, and they should come and tell me which job they are registering in Ghana. If not, over my dead body. Then the guy was like, well, we've always done that. Hey, sir, you know who you are talking to? This country, it belongs to us. Oh. Say, listen, let's have lunch. We want to sit at some place B where they show me that. When I got there, I said, listen, boss, before you argue with me, go and read about me. Me, when I start a fight, I don't stop. No, I'm serious. Guys, listen, this architecture business, it's a very poor profession. And we want to be wealthy. When the lawyers park their cars and you go and see it is black, Mercedes, black, the one gray, then black. Even if when they change, it's a beautiful BMW. When architects come and park, do you see the cars they park? Me, I put it in my head. And for the past 19 years, I drive all sorts of Mercedes. I try to induct success in my head. It was not a joke. I've driven all sorts of old Mercedes before. And I'm always driving Mercedes. When I buy cars for my staff, I buy Mercedes. You can ask. I'm not joking. If we don't protect this profession, this thing is not about your exam. Oh. Me, I'm not here because of your exam. I'm here because I want you to learn the law such a way that when you walk and somebody talks nonsense, say that, aha, so how can? Let me see those. Let me know. You guys, you know I blog, right? Don't know I blog. I fight them rough. You know, I remember when the Agenda 111, they brought the Agenda 111 thing. Oh, you saw me on TV. And I got a call. There was this young guy who was writing professional exam in my office. He works with the assembly. He told me plenty. Sometimes he would call and ask in the middle of the night. And say, if they say this, what is the meaning? You know, that kind of question. Ask me. So he was calling me like 2-3 times and I wasn't picking up. Then I saw that he had sent me a text. So I read the text. I said that, oh, but sir, is that what Ghana has become? I asked him that what has become. So they are giving all the jobs to, let me see the Ajayi people. Where are they? So they have given all the jobs to the Ajayi people. And I said, oh, is that true? They said, oh, this is Agenda 111. I said, okay, cool, chill, I'm coming. What is the problem? They said, oh, this. I said, okay, relax. So I called the president of the GIA. I said, Charlie, I hear say, Charlie, the job they give. He said, oh, is that true? So I went to GIA. I said, oh, Charlie, but this thing, you can't fight even government. I say, hey. This thing of when you start something with a defeat, it is not my portion. Hallelujah. It's not my portion. So I called. I spoke to one of the tough guys. I said, Charlie, bro, but the thing. I said, like this, you could do, and nothing will happen. I said, okay, thank you very much. I'm on my own. Sunday, 2 a.m., I woke up, I put on my reggae music, and then I started writing my article. By the time I finished, I got a call from Daily Graphic. Now, Tony, what this thing is happening? I hope you are writing something. I said, yes, I'm writing something. Can we publish it? I said, no, I'll give it to you to publish. I'll give it to anybody to publish. I said, I'll give it to, if I write my thing, go and give it to Daily Graphic. And they edit it and they put it out. It's not the same, right? So I decided that I'll publish my thing. So when I published it, I went to bed. And then I was driving and I realized that, you guys know Ken Ashbe, the communication something bureau, the chief executive. He has called me like 3-4 times. I was taking my wife to work. You know these women, when they grow old, small, they are complex, so you don't talk plenty in the car. So I kept moving, and then they said that, oh, Charlie, there is somebody on Metro TV who is dissing you bad, that you are this, you are that, you are that. I said, oh, why? So, oh, Charlie, by the article you write. I said, by the article I write, just post up on my website. So, Charlie, the thing go viral. I said, okay, cool. You know what? So I asked my wife that. She's a Facebook, social media. Said, oh, meet me, I connect you with Facebook. He said, connect, mommy. She connected. Charlie, I realized that somebody from Dankwa Institute was dissing me hard, that I was envious. I was this. I called Randy Abi. I said, Randy, why the guy did a studio day? So you don't know me for anyway. Why they call me like that? So when we were kidding, they put me on air. The way I blasted the guy. So I asked him, I said, listen, you are from Dankwa Institute. I'm a card-bearing member of MPP. I teach at Central University. I have a child who is doing architecture. When I'm talking about fair distribution of jobs, it is not him. It is not him. I'm tackling the people who give out the jobs. You understand what I'm saying? That is why the GIA will set up a professional competition and say that it is for those who are 5 years and below, so that they don't get anybody who has got big muzzle, 10 cars to come and bid for domestic scale projects. Do you understand what I'm saying? There must be equitable distribution of jobs in this country, and we must charge and make sure that we can make small money. That's it. So I want us, and these things has to be regulated. It has to be regulated. Ashaman, I had a driver I sacked. I sacked him just purely based on the fact that I think he didn't have common sense. He lost 2 kids to the same hospital. The child they'll give birth, then they said that they have to use breast milk to put in the eye of the kid. Then when the eye is, most babies have become jaundice before they become healthy. Let me see those who have kids here. Not women, not men. The men, you haven't done anything. You have a child. You went through your same thing with your kid. The baby gets a yellow eye before. Okay, usually a lot of the babies go through it. Then somehow they put something in the nose. They say that the child will die. Second one, the moment he lost the second child, I'm something from South. Somebody like that cannot be driving my children around. You understand? There are certain people who are in town who are just there, who are a risk to us. Our fight is not against draftsmen. They are not the principalities and evil powers. The draftsmen are not. Our fight is against government and institutions who use our services such that we would have fair and equitable fees paid to us. On a project that all the 5 consultants were earning 12.5%. The finance man who was going to see to the disbursement was taking 15%. So you see, you are welcome to the club. If you are not careful, you'll be poor. So it is very important, but we need to understand the law and how it works. And this is very important, guys. So I think we can go a bit faster now. Now, the references for this. Okay, so you see, I got the act correct, right? Okay. So you can leave me there, that one alone. Okay. So the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana is the base law that we take all our authority from. How many of you have seen the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana before? Okay, now that is one. How many of you have it on your phones? And how many of you have tried reading the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana? So you see the kind of problems you are going through. If this country is the rule of law, the democracy that we are practicing is the rule of law, then we must know the law. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, if you think that you are not interested in all these politics and the laws and all those things, let me tell you, our profession only thrives in peacetime. Our profession cannot thrive in anarchy. When they are bombing Gaza, they don't look for architects. The doctors are the people who are used. You understand what I'm saying? The moment this country slips into civil strife, civil war, anarchy, coup d'etat, all of those things, our profession is finished. Nobody does 3Ds when there is civil war. So it is and ladies and gentlemen, I beg you, you see the way I have this lecture. It's not a rehearsed lecture. I am talking because of this. This is what me, Tony Asari, I believe in. That's what I'm telling you. So if you do not take this law seriously, all these things that they are teaching you, project management, this thing, and do the geotech report, and you come and sit there and you talk. No, this is not it. This is architecture. The legal construct and the environment and the domain of practice is in the law. Are you okay? Now, the Architects Act, I think it was shared to you, right? They sent it to you. You should have it on your phones. Now, there is also another law which all of you would have to read and get used to it. It is the Professional Bodies Registrations Act 1973, Act 14, NLCD 143. This act was passed during General Kutu Echampon's time after he staged the coup. And in order to regulate professionals, they passed the law. Now, a lot of our laws actually take root from the Architects Act. If you read it carefully, you realize that it takes its root and authority from the NLCD 143. Now, the NLCD 143 has been reviewed recently. So, the text has changed a bit. But it will be very good for you to read it. I'll give you my phone number at the end of the lecture. If you go and read and you want to come and talk to me about, I am there for you. Now, do you have any questions? Hello? Do you have any questions? You don't have any questions? You should. Yes, Addison.
Okay, so in one of the previous lectures,
Yes. This week gave you the lecture.
Yes. It was a question. We were having some form of back and forth, and it's about the ARC being the regulator and GIA being a private body where you have the liberty either to join or not to join. By what? No. She didn't. So the question is, it's almost as if it's mandatory to be a member of the GIA. Yes, but for ARC, you can't practice without being registered with the ARC. But since GIA is private, it is my choice. Exactly.
Okay. All right. Do you think we sell bread? No. I mean, let's face it. Do you think we sell bread? This is not, you see, this is not Ghana Association of Architects. This is not Ghana Association of Architects. And I've said that we need to go to court and get some of these things done. What you are doing here, if anybody else wants to go and form another professional association and call it Ghana Architects Association and create their own stamp, and some lawyer feels that, or some judge feels that you can decide where to go, you go. And then we will discuss. You see, as we speak, there's been a case against the Ghana Association of Architects where they are claiming that you are not supposed to pay subscriptions. Now, the person who took this thing to court is a member of the Ghana Association of Architects. Me, I wasn't part of the executive. I told that in my time, if I'm a president and you take the GIA to court, I'll come for my stamp. I'll come for my stamp and my certificate. And then I'll publish in the newspapers that you cease to become the member of this thing until the legal portion is this thing. What we are teaching here, does it look like what you were taught in school? This is not an association. No. This is not a place where we sell yokogari and stuff. We learn. It is a last batch of the education for you to become an architect, and it is required by law. And the architects, the Professional Bodies Registrations Act is very clear that before the registrar will license you, you should be a member of the professional body. So that's why I'm saying that. And you guys, I will send you Addison and who else? I'll send you guys the Professional Bodies Registrations Act. I'll send you the act for you to read by itself, and then you can compare it to what we have in the act. So we are saying that if you think that when you finish GIA and you think that, oh, you finished, and therefore you decide to go and join the Ghana Association of Architects, that one is your problem. However, let me digress a bit. November, I'm going to be the next president for Ghana Institute of Architects, right? You've heard, right? Okay, it's not a rumor, it's fact. Now, I have said that I want to do two things, which is very different. And you understand why, when I finish, you understand. I'm saying that we are going to start the Young Architects Forum, right? Which is going to be a young body of architects, right? So for the Young Architects Forum, 35 years and below, or probationer, or wherever you fit, right? If you even have your GIA, you are properly licensed, and you're under 35, you can belong there, right? If you decide that you don't want to join Young Architects Forum, that's none of my business. That is an association of a certain classification and domain. So that one you can decide. I'm also saying that we are going to have a council of fellows and past presidents who would act as a body where we can refer our feuds to, there's a small conflict. We don't want to go to court. We can just go to the big boys and talk to them and find a way of settling it. So we're going to have a council of fellows, and we think that it is fair for us to have the women in architecture. They face different problems from what the guys face. You understand what I'm saying? So within the GIA, we can have freedom of association. You can be a member of the Women in Architecture and still be part of Young Architects Forum, right? You can be a member of the GIA and still be a member of the Council of Fellows and past presidents. You understand what I'm saying? Now, those ones are associations. This one that we have here is an institute. Please, I want us to Google and find the difference between association and institute. Yes, institute. Yes, who has found that?
An institution is basically a set of norms and ideas and necessary rules and procedures, whilst an association.
That is the term. I want the noun. Institute. Yes. Pardon me.
So an association is an organized group, whilst an institution is an organized way of doing things.
An organized way of doing things. The organized way of qualifying as an architect is to go to school, right? Serve your probation and write your professional exam, right? An association is what?
It's an association. It's just an organized.
It's just an organized group. You understand? So when you look at the Labor Act, it gives the freedom of association. And the reason why it sets up all those things is basically because it's when you are in a bank, you should be free to join a union. That union is not, you cannot compare union where people get up and wear red admirals rough to the Ghana Institute of Architects. There is a legal and organized way of training professionals. And it is not an optional thing. If you want to practice architecture in this country, the organized thing that we have is that you must do what? Write your professional exams and pass. If not, go and do your own stamp. Do your own certificate. When you finish, take it. Do it. Now, listen. That we have told the board that they should go and do a bylaw and go and change the law. And then the people should go and form their own association. We see them practicing. We'll go and arrest them. We'll put them in some excavator and throw them in some rubbish. Foolish people. Now, the law as it is now there, right? Now, before I talk about the arrangements, there is always the law, the name of the law. So you see Professional Bodies Registrations Act. Then the year that the law was passed follows. Do you get it? The year that the law was passed follows. So Architects Act 1969. It means that it was promulgated in what year? 1969. Then when you see the letters, it is either act this or a certain decree that. Now, anytime you see that it is a decree, like NLC, the National Liberation Council decree, it means that it was during an era of military rule. Whenever you see a decree, it means that the law wasn't passed by parliament, but the law was passed by some soldiers. Do you understand? Now, so you see act. If you see an act, you see that it is that one. It was during a democratic era. You understand what I'm saying? Now, somebody should Google Act 936. Somebody else to check Act 925. Who found Act 936? Yes. Who found it? Who has found it? If you don't get credit. 925. Okay.
This act provides with respect to spatial and land use planning.
So it is spatial and land use planning. Read the act itself. How is it read? Act 2016. Special Land Use and Spatial Planning Act
2016.
2016 Act 925. So it means that that act was passed in 2015, and the moment you see that it is act, and that act always has a capital letter, it means that the number of the law is what that is in terms of referencing and gazetting in our laws. That is the number. Okay. Now, so the moment you see act, it means that what? It was passed by a parliament. Are you okay with that? Any questions? What's the time? Okay, we are okay. We'll finish. The slides plenty, but we'll finish. Yes. Are you tired? Do you have any questions? Is there anything that you haven't understood from the way I've said it? Yes.
Yes. This is in relation to. Okay, this is in relation to what the lecture we had with the regulator, and she said she traveled to Senegal or something. They had their registration body, the ARC and the GIA combined. I was wondering, why can't we do the same thing here? And what are some of the setbacks that holds us back from getting it?
It's an incestuous relationship. You don't date your sister. You see, these people, look, guys, you know what? Dr. Yaboche was 1 year ahead of me, okay? Dr. Yaboche is 1 year ahead. We've been friends. When he was in South Africa doing his PhD, Charlie, I followed things up. He's my padipa. When it comes to the Architects Act and the role of the ARC and GIA, he's not my friend, though. He's not my friend. Look, recently, I sent him some email. The chairman called me, said, Charlie, Tony, be like for cool down. So I said, no. Tell the people there that we want to be, you see, the system has to be regulated such a way that when you sleep and you see that somebody is committing an architectural crime, he will be arrested. Me, I don't qualify to be a registrar, but if I do and I go there, hell will break loose. Allah. Hey, you see, it is an incestuous relationship. Whenever you are regulating somebody and the person is your friend, you have to be very careful. You see, architecture is such that you have to be strong enough to do business with your mother. And for your mother to say that, Charlie, I saw this my son there, or your hard. You understand what I'm saying? It's an incestuous relationship. Look, somebody goes to, a lot of architects are doing design and build now, right? And then people are causing troubles. People's buildings are collapsing and things. It's not small. They've chopped the money. Look, When you see me, I travel very often. In my life, I've only flown business class twice. I didn't pay for it. Somebody paid for it. When I have my money, you know what we call cattle class? She say yes, sir, like sardine with this side. When I get out of the plane and I go and sit at some duty free and I buy my M&M, can you see first class on me? One time. The point is that architecture is not, we are not regulating it hard enough. Do you remember Obenfo? The guy who was doing the tummy tax and killing people. The guy was my classmate in Presec. When they realized that he was doing all those kind of things, do you realize how quickly the Ghana Medical and Dental Council closed down his place? You see, that's the thing. Look, there are a series of architects in this country who have not registered. Some Portuguese guys, some Lebo boys and things. They are there. We know them. I met one of them in some meeting. I told him, I said, Frederico, I'll arrest you. And the client was shocked. He said, but Tony, where do you? I said, he's been practicing in this country. I know. I'll arrest you. I told him, and I'll arrest him. You just wait. You just wait. I'll arrest him. Hey, Charlie, the people, they chop money. Look, all of them are giving them jobs. All the big boys. One day we should arrest them and demonstrate and make them bold. If you want to practice, this country is a free state. Come and write our exams and go and practice legally. When Hussein Fakri came to Ghana, I met him once now. Then, he started doing his job. And Hussein Fakri is a wonderful architect, right? He was doing nice stuff. I don't you guys know with key? Yes. So then I was doing some job B. I went to give the client my bill. Then Hussein Fakri gave a lower bill. But it wasn't his fault because he does design and build most of the time. So he could charge less. Me, I was design. It's raw. Me, Jimmy Sikanamako. So Hussein Fakri undercut me small. So I told him, I said, Charlie boss, you can't do that. So I brought him to the GI. That's the way civilized people do, right? It's an association of laws. When we started trying the case, then the client rather took me to court that he had given me a deposit of 100,000 cedis, which was worth $25,000 at the time, 8 years ago. And that he's collecting his money back, blah, 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 blah. So I told Hussein Fakri that it is you. You are going to undercut me now. Look at me. I had my job make pass, and now they say I should go to court. We have been in court for 8 years. 7.5 years. Last week, we went to court. Then they brought their client to come and stand in the dock. They started questioning him. By the time they closed me, when they closed, I'm Charlie, apart because I have to move quickly. I got out of the court and I sat in my car and I left. I was even on the phone. Later, when I went for the next hearing the following morning, my lawyer came. My lawyer is an architect. He came with a lawyer of the other. Charlie said, Tony, we have to settle. We will pay you. I said, that's right. Now let's talk. You understand what I'm saying? The system has to be regulated hard. If we regulate it properly, the Access Registration Council has got the same standing as the High Court. Read the law properly. If they give you anything, you can't take any ruling from the ARC to a local court like a magistrate court or anything. You can't. That's how powerful the thing is. But Charlie, sometimes architects, when they call them, they didn't know they shout body. We have to make sure that the Access Registration Council is strong, but they are not our friends. We go there. When I come to the registrar, and then I go to the admin. I go there. Eya is my friend, pa. He calls me almost every week. He calls me at least twice. But he's not my friend. He's my regulator. When he comes and says that, Tony, I'm shutting down your office, I should be able to get up and say, yes, sir. Because he's our regulator. You understand what I'm saying? Now, let's start with a serious matter. The arrangement of the sections, if you pick the law, there is a council and its board. There must be a council, the Access Registration Council, as a body. And it has a board, a governing board. Then there are qualifications and restrictions. What makes you an architect and what cannot make you an architect is stated in the law. There are miscellaneous provisions, all sorts of things. Then there's disciplinary issues, fair schedule. When you fool, how should we punish you? We won't curse you, we'll fine you. People, when you curse them these days, sometimes I go to my small domestic site, and I tell my mates in that, hey, Mikaso, when I give you money, then you sweep me. I'll bring shinap and eggs. Said, oh boss, why? Ghanaians are afraid of curses. But we have to be strong enough that when somebody fools or people mess up the name of architecture, they will be taken to law. So all those things are there. There is the second schedule, which consists of acts constituting misconduct, the infractions. You understand? So that is what today we are going to talk about. Now, the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, Section 109, says that Parliament may, by law, regulate professional, trade, and business organizations. The Constitution of the Republic of Ghana says that Parliament. So it's not. Listen, they say when they say Parliament, it doesn't mean that it is Abambagbin. It is the body of Parliament, the legal making body of Parliament. Is the one that regulates professions, trade, and business organizations. You understand? Section 2, the affairs of the organization referred to in clause 1 of this article shall be conducted in democratic lines. Are you okay? So it means that you can campaign. You can't pay delegates. That one is not a democratic process. Charlie, we have messed this country for MP people be this. You know, our affairs must be conducted in democratic lines. So we put groups together and we have to be democratic, balanced, you know. Now, just for your interest, it's likely that by next year, the law will change. I'm part of the people who are sitting on the committee. When I heard that they wanted to do the review of the act, I heard they were meeting at Attorney General's. I called Chairman. I said, Chairman, where are you? He said, oh, we are the Attorney Generals. Oh, you cry, you have to come. Self-invitations. I went to sit inside. When they were talking, I behaved like a good guest. Everything they said, I didn't say some, but I listened. So when they put the committee and we had to go and meet the Ministry of Works and Housing, the Ministry of Works and Housing brought very strong voice. Then they said they want us to have a regulation that will regulate us, we architects and draftsmen. So sometimes I have short fuse for stupid people. You know, so I started asking. So there was some guy from the ministry and he was talking. I said, are you married? He said, no. I said, stop talking about our law and go and marry. Don't come and cross us. So the lawyers were like, and so I got up. I said about 20. I said, no. I want everybody to understand that I am angry. I won't hide it. I won't go and do it. And I disagree with this. No. That's not my language. This is stupidity. I told him, I said, look, you're a very stupid boy. Get out of this place. Go and marry. When you marry and you have a child, think about that. Come on. I said, if you want to talk about architecture, go to School of Architecture. This is not a child play. We're not joking. Look, the reason why this country is in a mess, you know what? You guys, you just wait. When you finish, you're going to see some problems that's brewing for us. They have changed the LI 1630, the building regulation. They have removed any word called architecture out of the thing. Richardson, I bought it and gave it out. Where are those people who came to my group when were those people who came here? Didn't you see that I was sharing it to Professor B. Adams? I've told them everybody should go and read. The moment they hear from us, they'll run away. In countries like Singapore, you cannot even change an architect without informing the assembly. If you do not, within 2 weeks of changing your architect, if you do not find a new architect to come and work, you are charged 200,000 Singaporean dollars. You, the client. So you must find an architect. You must. So the reason why we are not taking this thing seriously is basically because we are not serious. We have to get there. Democratic lines, elections. Oh. Okay, so the council is made up of 10 members. 10. Tell me what is wrong with that. It's even.
It's even.
And it's wrong, right?
Yes, because they need to be.
The law was passed what year? Where were you? When the law was passed, I was 1 year old. Who will grow for the class power? It's like that. So it's an even number of board. So what it has done is that the moment there is a tie, the board chairman is giving the authority to have a casting vote. The democratic laws in this country, nobody has got double vote. I mean, at least you can get 0, but as for 2, you can't get. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it is even. So it's a problem. First, there are 5 architects on the board. There are 5 architects on the board. Then there is a problem here. There is a representative from KNUST. What is the problem here? You have what? Did you go to Central? Speak for. You didn't go to Central.
No.
Let the Central people speak for themselves. Why? Did you go to Central?
Yes.
You went to Central. Speak for yourself. You do not have representation. You said we. Okay, I like your spirit. Now you're beginning to talk. It's good. So the 6th person is from KNUST. At the time, the law didn't envisage that we are going to have a lot more schools of architecture in this country, right? Just by adding 1 school of architecture, that part of the law looks completely senseless. You understand what I'm saying? Good. There is a legal advisor from the Attorney General's department. You will realize that in most laws, because it is the administration of justice, there is always one person who comes from the legal department of government. You get it? So we have one legal advisor from the Attorney General's department. Then there is a representation from the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. Tell me why a representation. Who are they representing?
I don't know who they represent.
Yes. Who are they representing?
I don't think any. I don't.
Yes. I want to know. Do you know? Don't laugh. Why are you laughing? It is our law. You are laughing at our law. Why are you laughing? Don't laugh. Yes. Yes. Who do you think the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences?
I think architecture is an art and a science. I don't know.
She give me raps. Clap for her. He said that architecture is an art and science. Is she correct? Yes. The Kwame Nkrumah envisaged at the time when the law was being up to 66, then it was overthrown, and then the National Liberation Council also came. General Ankara and those after Afrifa did the coup, right? Now it was assumed that the public is represented by Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. So look for the public interest, intellectual public interest of the law. That's what it was supposed to be. So we have done 5, 6, 7, right? Then a registered architect from the Ministry of Works and Housing. If in the situation where the Works and Housing ministries are split up, if there is just Ministry of Works and there is just Ministry of Housing, the registered architect must come from the ministry responsible for works. Do you understand? So that makes how many architects? If you look at it, we have blue, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Basically, because it is possible that the head of the person who is coming from the architecture department may or may not be an architect. But most of them, until I think, apart from just one instance where Mr. Asante, may his soul rest in peace, was a member, every time we have an architect. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. So we have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then the last position is the registrar. The registrar of the Ghana Institute of the Architect Registration Council is also a member of the board. So the governing board, Dr. Yabochi sits on the board, right, as the registrar. Now here is the thing: all these guys, the nominations. Guys, you understand the meaning of nomination? Let's. I want us to understand this thing properly. I won't take anything from that. What's the meaning of nomination? The Central University for now. The Central University people, you are not part of the law, so you can't talk.
Means
What's the meaning of nomination?
somebody appointed you.
No, appointment is not the same as nomination. Don't do that, people. Google it? Check. Nomination. What is the meaning of nomination? Yes. Let me give you the microphone.
The act of officially suggesting someone or something for a job.
Charlie, give her a round of applause. She read from Google, but give her a round of applause. They said that you are legally suggesting somebody to an organization. That's a nomination. So the moment they said that, oh, we want to have elections, said that we are going through a period of what? Nominations, where we are now bringing qualified people for us to decide whether we want to vote for them or do not vote. Now, today we have learned that when we vote, it is a legal thing, right? And that when we are voting in architecture, we are being mandated by the law. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, all right. So let's go on. Now, the governing board, now we know that it is made up of 10 people. Ajayi people are saying that it is even. It doesn't make sense. I am for Ajayi. I stand with David Ajayi people. The even number is really something that we need to get out of. We either make it 11 or make it 9. You understand what I'm saying? Because most boards have odd numbers. So now that we have an even number, that one alone tells us that our law is old. That's why we are making steps. We are taking the steps to make sure that it is reviewed. All right. I'm interested in your conversation.
Spoke about most boards having odd numbers. Yeah. You said because we have 10 people, I said it means we are not really doing the right thing there.
Good. Do you sing?
No, I don't sing.
Charlie, I leave this. There's more money. There's more money in the singing. Now, so we have one registered architect by the Ministry of Works. In the absence of, whenever there is Ministry of Works and Housing, the person comes from Ministry of Works and Housing. But the moment you split the two, Works and then Ministry of Housing, Ministry of Works, we look for a person from Ministry of Works. If you come there and you are not a registered architect, you should be sacked. In fact, this current board, when they, in fact, I was there when they were selecting, they were doing the swearing in. I didn't know who was coming from the Ministry of Works and Housing. So whilst we were doing the thing, then I realized that there was some lady B who was part of the board who was sworn in last minute, and we couldn't do anything about it. So the moment they finished, I went to the chairman. I'm like, that woman is not part of us. Oh, she's not a registered architect. You see, that's concerned spirit. Quickly. They said, yeah, they know that. By the time they did the first board meeting, they sacked the woman. Yeah. It's not child's play. The law. It's the law. Right? So they became 9 people. And then some things happened. And then when we voted, our person won. You get what I'm saying? Yes. We always have to satisfy the law. Now, there are 5 persons nominated by the Institute of Architects. Usually it is nominated by the Institute. I added of Architects because by the end of the law, you realize define the Institute. The Institute means Ghana Institute of Architects, right? Now, so GIA nominates 5 people. The law is old. The 5 people, we don't know how the sectors in which the interest groups they must represent. So if we the seniors decide that, well, we are going to take only our cronies there, the law doesn't help you to safeguard your interest as young architects in this country. You understand what I'm saying? So the law is old. One person nominated by the Faculty of Architecture, we know that one alone with Central University people, and we are saying we are not part of the, we are not, you will be part. Okay, that one is not too much of a problem. Then one person nominated by the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences. Yes, please.
Concerning the architecture schools, so say there were about 10 architecture schools in the near future, they will all have representation. I'm asking.
Then you can write. Do you understand what I'm saying? No, I want you to give me an answer. Why you think I'll let you go like that?
No, I'm asking.
Or you think when we stand here, we are giving the lecture, it's nice. It's not nice. Hey, talk, I'm listening.
You're asking me to answer the question I asked?
You ask the question, I'm saying answer it. She's saying that if there are many schools of architecture,
And pick a chairperson to represent them.
the KNUS people don't have any ideas on this one because they want to be there. They are saying that the professional institution must be run on democratic lines. That is the key word. Democratic lines, the phrase democratic lines. So if there are 100 schools of architecture, their representation on the board must be run on democratic lines. So they must elect who or nominate who should represent them. You understand what I'm saying? That is the essence of the law. Do you, or you disagree? You disagree with me? Yes, they should be. We are not going to sing praises there.
For or against? I'm just asking.
Haven't you heard the thing, the people who are saying the devil and the mango the cemetery? Have you heard of that matter? You haven't heard of that matter before? Yes, go on.
No, I'm not.
Your question is valid. No,
Okay.
you're just panicking. Wait. Listen. It is a very legitimate question. It is just the way I am. I'm sure I'm intimidating her small. The question is that if you are plenty, architects are plenty. I have been saying that under Section 109, professional bodies must run on what? Democratic lines. So there is just a system of selection of who should go there. We are 1,000 and something architects. We have only one president. He represents whatever the president, if the Republic of Ghana president says that I want to talk to architects. Are you okay now? What do I say? The question and your answer is the same.
The purpose of having a member from a particular school is to represent the interest of that school. No?
I think that this is not an academic board. This is a professional board. And the ARC regulates schools and practice. And even our this your exam we are writing. We write and go and give it to them to go and review. They tell us, in fact, I have even done a paper to suggest that if we look at you over the period, and for instance, you did very well in Architects Act in your exam, we could even find ways of recruiting some of you to come and understudy us so that when we go, you can teach. Do you get what I'm trying to say? You understand? You wanted to ask a question. Okay, so those are some of the things. So the nomination would have to be democratic. Think about it, because I can ask a question like that. You understand? In fact, I'll ask a question on it. So there is a legal advisor for Attorney General's department, and then there is a registrar nominated by the institute. Now, we have had some controversies on this one, where the previous registrar said that the law has changed and that it's the president who nominates the head of agency. You understand? But you see, when you go down the law, that's why it's very important. I want you guys to look for Article 195 of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. You can write it down, and when you go, there are two portions of that law, or I think there is even a third. But it just says that whenever the president wants to nominate a registrar or appoint a registrar, he has to then consult the agency. So if they want to nominate a registrar from the Ghana for the Architect Registration Council, what the law says is that the president will now contact the agency, which is the Architect Registration Council. Then the agency then will pick their law and say that this is how the registrar is picked. It has to be nominated by the Ghana Institute of Architects. They will write to the Ghana Institute of Architects to bring a nomination for registrar, and then the president will then appoint the registrar for the Ghana Institute. So the registrar, Dr. Yaboche's appointment letter, came from the presidency, but we architects actually put them together. There were 3 nominations, and we elected Dr. Yaboche. I don't know if you guys, I don't know any of you who was the president. That was 4 years ago, right? And so we voted for, it was him, Architect Alomatu, and Architect the lady Refinity boy. Okay. The chairman of the governing body must be a registered architect. So the current, the chairman, right? Actor Dade, who came to my group. So you saw him, you met Actor Dade. He was sitting opposite. Yes, he's our chairman. The chairman must be elected by the members of the governing board. So when the governing board meets, the 10 people meet, then they will vote. Now, if the chairman too has the right to vote for himself, right? So assuming the chairman votes for himself and there are 4 others, and the other people too vote, and it is 5-5. So you see the wisdom in our legal document. Are you angry? We are not correct like that too. All right. Any questions before we move on? We will finish. What's the time? Okay. We'll finish. We are supposed to finish at 4, right? Okay. Do you have any questions? Are you sleepy? Okay. All right. Let me tell you a small joke before we move on. Those guys who do you use mice, see those white mice to do experiments. You see them? We call them what? Lab rats. So the guy was working, he had bought a diamond to do a ring for his wife. And then by mistake, one of the lab rats swallowed the diamond. And the lab rats, their breeding is they do them very carefully. So you can't just get up and kill them like that. So they called an expert to come and look at how to identify which one had swallowed the diamond. How would you identify that? X-ray. The light was off. Yes. So some guy came and he said that, he just looked at the mice and pointed at, that one has swallowed the diamond. He said, how did you know? So, when poor people make money, they try not to mix with the original people. So he stood aside quietly. When you get knowledge, you actually stand aside. And it's very important. It's very, very important that, in fact, a lot of my writings actually highlights the ills of our laws and how dysfunctional some of our laws are. You understand? I mean, some of the articles are very, very interesting. Recently, I published one in the Daily Graphic, the sour sports story of Ghana. I don't know who saw it. It talks about it's about my experience in some small village in Buzumefreo, where I met people, some kids playing their own form of badminton. They use catapult, rubber, and some feathers to do. You know what the shuttlecock is? You see the dadabis. You know what shuttlecock? You too, dadabi. You know what the shuttlecock is? You too, dadabi. Yes. Who doesn't know what the shuttlecock is? You don't know what a shuttlecock is. Shuttlecock is some kind of meat pie. You see? Now, I want us to let's talk about the law. And we have had instances where the board is there and their time, we don't even know when their time is supposed to end. But the law is very clear. The board member shall hold office for 5 years from the date of appointment. So the people who are sworn in, when they are appointed by the president letter, by the 5th year, their term expires, right? Is the registrar a board member? So after 5 years, their term must end, right? Good. I want you to take note of that. It's very important. A member may vacate in writing to the chairman. If you are there, you decide that you are not interested in being the governing board member again, you write to the chairman, right? And tell them that you're leaving. It's not by force. I won't do this work again. So you can leave. However, if the person leaves, how do we get another person to replace the person? How would we do it? How would we do it? Right? How would we do it? We go back to the same agency that nominates the person to be able to replace the person, right? What if the person dies? Last year, we lost one of the members of our board in the name of, you know the person who died, right? Architect Adute Brown. Yeah, last 2 years, November. So when the person dies, he has to be replaced. Okay. So the GI has the right to replace. We have had conventions on the board and not necessarily laws. And because of the conventions are not written. They are not binding. You understand? For a very long time, the convention was that you can, out of the 5, it's the president of the Ghana Institute of Architects and the secretary always sit on the board, right? And then there are 3 others. Okay. But over the period, we realized that there's no law. So but is it mandatory? Is it okay that we can have is it by force that we should have the GIA president and the secretary on the board? I've served on the board before when I was honorary secretary of the Ghana Institute of Architects. When my term expired as the secretary, I left. But if I hadn't left the board, nobody would have come push me. If you take me to court, I'm there. You understand what I'm saying? So there are certain conventions where we don't have strict write-ups. These are all parts of the problems that we have with the law, which we must change, which we are trying to. In fact, we are all getting involved with the drafting of the new law. A member who vacates by effluxion is eligible for reappointment. What is effluxion? Expiration time. You Googled it, or you know that already. You know that. Where did you go to the primary school?
Primary school, MOH.
Ministry of Health. It's COVID center. Yes. What is effluxion? Effluxion, the expiration of a limited time agreement or tenancy ended by effluxion of time. Basically, if maybe it's possible that maybe the person is going on retirement. The person is there as maybe from the Attorney General's department, and then he's going on retirement. Their time is just up. You understand what I'm saying? So they have to leave, right? So which agency, if the person came from the Attorney General's department, which agency would the person, how would the person, another person be brought onto the board? Pardon me?
Attorney General's office will nominate them.
They will nominate somebody else from there to come. That is not difficult to understand, right? Okay. So let's look at the functions of the board. What does the board do? It is the responsibility of the board to make sure that the practice of architecture in Ghana is of the highest standard. How do you do that? How do you do that? You make sure that architects are trained properly, right? You make sure that you go through strict professional exams practice what else do? The board is supposed to prescribe or approve courses of study for, and the conduct and standards of qualifying examinations for registration as registered architects. Now, I want you to have underlined some of these things. He said that prescribe or approve. Does it mean that it is the Architect Registration Council that is supposed to prepare the exam, or they are supposed to approve the exam from what is written there? Pardon me? They are supposed to approve. They are not supposed to, but for a long time, see, there was a period when the GIA basically collapsed. We had a very strange thing happening. We had an accountant here who when people came to pay subscription, he took the money. And by the time we found out that he had taken all the money, he built his house at, you see, Afenya, inside the neem tree, inside there, back there, near the, you see, near where the runway is. You know, you guys know that there's a runway at Afenya. Who knows? You know that there's a runway at Afenya. It be proper that I be power. You they fly. Or you be aviation enthusiast. Your party be the Rollinses. You did Air Force. So how did you do it? How did you find out? On Google Earth? On social media. You can blame social media for everything. Okay. So myself and Architect Round used to go there, Charlie. By that time, the traffic was so bad. By the time we go and look for the man and come back, we were tired. We said that, Charlie, so we got basically the GIA collapsed. And then the registrar, then Professor Milstete, decided that they take charge of the payment of the subscription and also the running of the exams, because we just lost the capacity to do it, right? Now, by the time Professor Milstete was leaving, it had become a norm that it is the ARC that runs exams. But there is a problem in there. Assuming somebody has got a problem with the way exams is being run and they want to seek adjudication, you cannot use the ARC to do the adjudication unless you went to court. You understand what I'm saying? But if the GIA runs the exams and there is a problem, so for instance, last year that we ran an exam, somebody failed. Somebody actually got 2.5% over 25 for a particular question. The guy, that question was on project management, and that guy is a trained project manager with like 20 something years experience, and he got 2.5 over 25. So when the thing came up, they wrote the exam, went to the chief examiner, went to the registrar, and they authorized us to do a remarking. So they called 4 of us, myself, Professor Dia, Dr. Alex Mafo, and architect Niteko Ivan Sanfun, to go and remark the paper. I had actually given him 2. I reduced it to 1. No, and you see, because then we needed to be strict with the marking scheme. So I said that you understand? So at the end of the day, if there is a problem, they can write officially to the regulator that they should come and check whether what we are doing is right or wrong. You understand? Look, we make mistakes, yes, but a lot of what you are going through is nothing strange. At your level, the way you are answering your questions is the same way that you answer it. There are few of you, 5-10% of you who would answer questions exceptionally better. I mean, there are people who have done work, so we know it's nothing giddy giddy. Me, when I wrote my professional exams, I did exceptionally well for pre-contract, everything, competitions and all those. I wrote back. When it came to post-contract, I almost got 1 over 50. Because in my office, I was more of the drawing type, right? At times there was no AutoCAD. We were pushing proper 3Ds, not your type of pencil, vanishing points, but with pins. You get? Oh, I can show you some of my drawings. You see? So I struggled with post-contract. So it is all part. But when somebody feels that they have answered the question very well, and you want to raise a query, you can go to the registrar. You can. Because that is They are regulators. You understand what I'm saying? So they prescribe the courses. So if the regulator says that, okay, Tony, Access Act, we've taught it like Kakra, we don't want it, put it aside. I can't do anything about it because they approve the courses. You understand what I'm saying? Now, every year, the registrar publishes a list of architects in good standing. If you've paid your subscription as a Ghana Institute of Architects member and you've paid your annual practicing certificate fees, your name will be published in the newspapers. I have some clients who are very troublesome. When they pay me small money, when they publish the list, oh Tony, I've looked at the thing, your name is can say, oh, it will come in the second day. You know, there are some clients, they will worry you. But the point is that if you're an architect and when they publish the list of architects in good standing and you are not in good standing, there are certain institutions that will write to you and ask you why you are not in good standing. Have you committed a crime? Have you done any misconduct? Have you done any undercutting? Because there are certain people, there are certain institutions that are integrity based. So they will make sure that they check that you have paid your subscription. You understand what I'm saying? So the functions of the board is to do that. Now, they prescribe and uphold standards of professional conduct and ethics. If you go and collect a client's money to build them a house, and it ends up not being a safe building, it is a misconduct. But we'll discuss a bit more. So generally, the role of the board is to control the practice of architecture. Any questions? Any questions? The people they say instead of come, they said they will come and sit here and they said they want to sit here. Yes, any questions? Yes, please. What's your name? You mentioned it, yes.
Okay, so we're doing this training to qualify as registered architects,
Yes.
and then it says to control the practice of. So after this, say I have, God willing, the next 50 years practicing as an architect.
Yes.
Apart from paying my dues and then being in good standing, how does the agency check that I'm actually practicing right?
Okay, all right. You didn't go to Ashesi University. Okay. Look, the thing is that the ARC is supposed to be checking on your practice. One of the things that you do is that every year you come and pay your subscription. If there is a case against you, your subscription may not be renewed. Look, we have had people, anytime, I'll talk about the process for adjudication, for disciplinary action and all of that. Usually, there are two stages. There is an investigative committee that if, for instance, somebody comes to report to you that, oh, you collected my money, you have built me a poor house. There is an investigative committee that is set up by the governing board. And then they will investigate. When they finish, they bring a disciplinary committee that will come and punish you. There has been an architect who came there who cried before. Yeah, no, he saw his folly. He left his stamp and somebody was misusing it, using to stamp wrong drawings. And they said that he had been careless and a few things. Charlie, boss, this is a serious practice. You get it? You see, when you hear people like Architect Augustus, them talking about serious architecture and things, it's a serious matter. So before your name will be published, at least for that previous year, you shouldn't have committed any crime. If you are convicted of a crime, you cease to become a member of the Ghana Institute of Architects. If they come and see plenty dollars in your house, like Cecilia that passed this thing, and you can't tell where this thing, you may end up ceasing to become a member of the Ghana Institute of Architects. So let's look at the functions of the board, professional practice examinations. Now, how do we become members, a standing member associate of the Ghana Institute of Architects? Next year by this time, a lot of you will have your own stamps, right? But what is the law? What is the law that backs these actions that you are taking? A person who has been admitted or enrolled as otherwise accepted to be a member of any professional body, upon the production of the registrar to the registrar a certificate issued by the said professional body, can become a member of that professional body. What we have here is the Professional Bodies Registrations Act. It says that registration shall elapse at the end of each calendar year, and shall, upon the production to the registrar a certificate referred to in subsection 1 of this section, be renewed by the registrar. Our license to practice is only annually. Our license to practice is only 1 year. Every year you must pay your subscription and also go and pay for your certification at the Architects Registration Council. Have you seen a copy of the annual practicing certificate before? Okay. Any questions on that one? Your certificate of qualification doesn't expire. Your certificate that qualified you to become, that made you become an architect, does not expire. You have a certificate that is issued by the Ghana Institute of Architects. You have a stamp, but your capacity to practice for the year is only 1 year. Is it confusing? Now, bylaws, management and duties of the council. The council and its board actually can come up with bylaws. What are bylaws? Please Google it. Let's understand what bylaws are. Yep. Regulations made by the local authority. Enhance, yes, sorry, that would enhance the other laws that we have. Then we come up with bylaws. Are there any Rotarians here? Is anybody who is a Rotarian? Which club? Rotract.
No, I thought you said any.
No, Rotarian. I want to know who is a member of Rotary Club. Oh, why? No, Charlie. Oh, Charlie, but you people too. Why are you like that? Charlie, make you don't mind them. Yes. Do you know any person who is a Rotarian? Yes.
My auntie, RP, East Legon, Auntie Joanna.
Oh, Joanna is your, I see. What's her name? Yes. Okay. But she's an architect, right? Not that one. Accountant. Okay. Now, in Rotary, I'm a Rotarian. Rotary basically is a service organization. Basically, in the club, any action that we have to take in the club, and it is not within our constitution, we come up with a bylaw before we can let it happen. So, for instance, you cannot just get up and say that this year our dues will be $200. No, we don't do that in Rotary. We come up with the president must pass a bylaw for all of us to vote and agree that the law is that your membership is sustained by paying $200 if the previous year was $180. You can't just get up and say that we are going to pay $200 and because you are the president. We don't do that. You understand? So come up with bylaws. The assembly can come up with their own bylaws. Is there anybody here who works with the district assembly? Anybody working with the municipal assembly anywhere? You see, the assemblies have the capacity to pass their own bylaws. They can pass bylaws regarding waste management and waste treatment. They can pass bylaws regarding signage, right? They can pass bylaws regarding local disturbances based on the existing law by maybe say EPA, right? Now, the board, the council and its board can also pass bylaws. Now, the bylaws that they can pass can come under the management and duties of the council. It can be about the functions of the officers. So, for instance, if they decide that the member of the member nominated by the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences is supposed to be also in charge of feedback from the community, we can pass a law so that anybody who wants to bring feedback and they come and they said, oh, we want to talk about feedback as to whether architects are serving the community well, then it will just go, it becomes a new responsibility for the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences person. We can pass bylaws on administration and investment and expenditure. If the ARC collects the internally generated funds, maybe from competitions, and they decide that they want to invest, the board can pass a law as to how it should be invested. That don't go and invest it in men's gold, but go to CDH. You understand what I'm saying? Guys, any of you can end up in these positions of responsibility. Do not take this lightly. Okay? Now, the council can also pass bylaws concerning unprofessional conduct. What consists of unprofessional conduct? 20 years ago, very few companies did design and build. But if the GIA, the ARC decides that they want to pass bylaws regarding the conduct of architects carrying out design and build projects, they can do that. They can also change our scale of fees. Fees to be paid for initial registration and annual registration is also their baby. So that when you finish your professional exam, before you become a member, they will tell you how much you have to charge. They will charge you for your initial payment and then your subsequent payment that you have to make. Yes, please. Non-scoring. Sorry. It's been an issue. I raised this issue and some seniors called me and said that I should be careful where I am talking nonsense. My question is that if we have members of the probationers, right? If probationers are paying subscription and they cannot vote, why are they paying? They are paying for their membership. You understand what I'm saying? We must be able to define clearly what that membership is all about. Probationer basically means that we know that you are a member of the GIA. You understand what I'm saying? But we must go a bit deeper into it. Because the moment you move from ASAG, the next stage is probationer before you become an associate. And then you can either become a fellow or an honorary member, whatever. You understand what I'm saying? But as far as we are concerned, your registration, it's your probational collections that you pay. It's just for you to become a known member within the architecture body. You understand? But what don't you get? Uh-huh. Yes. That much I don't know, but I can tell you how maybe if I were there, I would have suggested. We have a certain general expenditure for the whole year. GIA has to pay electricity bills, water bills, salary, PAYE, taxes, other taxes. We have functions, we have programs, we cost everything. Then we assume that okay, out of the thousand members, roughly only 400 pay. So to be sure, we can assume that only 350 people will pay, and then we can divide and we can get a figure, and we say that well, it's a prorated figure. Fellows should pay this, members should pay, associates should pay this, probation should pay that, because we have to fund our own. As I mentioned to you, the programs and functions of the GIA is funded by us. It is not a government funded agency. The ARC their salaries and everything comes from government. They are on accountant general. We are not. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, your third question.
Like, I'm sure you own your own thing, right? So you have professionals there. Yes. So do you guys consider, okay, this is the salary of a professional in the office, and do you compare that to whether it's say now 500?
The question has changed from ARC to militancy. That you don't pay. Look, let's face it. I want us to be very clear about these things. The salary that is earned by architects generally is low. Do you agree? Good. The architects, do you think that your bosses earn enough to pay you enough? Where do you work? Where do you work? Let me. Listen, the Ajayi people are not part of this conversation. They are paid very well. Yes. Where do you work?
Multi-build.
How much do you earn?
I can't say.
What's your name? Now, how much do you earn?
I can't say.
Why? No. This is a very serious conversation. Let's have it so that we can get on with the functions. Why can't you say? You think it is too low for you to say? No, but there is a reason why you work, right? And you think it is okay to still keep on working.
I don't get your question.
No, you see, listen. Let me give you an example. When I got out of school, wait, you just chill. When I got out of school, my boss, in fact, when I was in third year, I was sort of pushed by my boss, who was then, I think he became the president of the Ghana Institute of Architects sometime. And then they brought me, and then they said that by the time I finished school, they were ready to pick me. In fact, I remember when I was in final year, I think third year or so, fourth year, getting ready for my year out, they brought an exam patrol to come and pick me, just to bring me. Our office was just around the corner here. So basically, I had a reasonably good salary. If I convert how much I was earning at that time, I was earning a dollar equivalent of about $465 a month at that time, right? And I was the youngest in the office. Now, most of my friends were earning about 2/3 of what I was earning, or sometimes half. None of us felt like leaving the office. But in fact, at a certain point, I went to see my boss and I told him that, say, there are certain things that must change in the office. Look at me. He said, certain things must change in the office. We felt that we needed to make ourselves a bit more flexible. Let's do a bit more IT stuff. At that time, we didn't even have emails. It is Honorable Gisela Tete who got my first email for me. We didn't have email, so we picked it up. But at a point, I said that, you know what? I really wanted to be on my own, but I didn't want to be a freelance working from the boot of my car. And then I did a bit of design and build, gathered a bit of money, and set up on my own. When I set up on my own, then I asked myself whether I can afford to be paying people. Somehow, the decision to pay salaries is not just whether this is what the market dictates are, but it is an affordability level. That's why a lot of firms are taking architects on contract. They pick you up on a project, they work with you, they finish, they let you go. During that period that you work, you are not paying your social security contributions, you're not taking care of your pension, you're not taking care of your taxes, your PAYE, and a whole lot of other things. The responsibility of your bosses goes beyond just paying the salary, but taking care of you legally. You understand what I'm saying? So our salaries also being low is a factor of the economy and the leakages we have in our system, where a lot of people are practicing under the radar, and therefore, and then draftsmen and illegal stuff, people building, copying drawings and using it to build their projects, assemblies not working properly, and a whole lot of other things. But for a good office, the office must take care of your subscriptions. For a good office, I would suggest that your office must. I do that for my office. I struggle. As I say, I haven't paid my subscription yet. I haven't paid. My discussion with my secretary last week was that we have to pay. I asked, total I have to pay for the office and everything for me is about almost, I think it's 12,000 or so for my staff, my probationers, and this thing. So it's 12K, right? We have to take it up. So that is the kind of thing that we do. But I am just praying that you get to our level. And then I'll come and ask you quietly, how are you paying your staff? Now, so basically the role of the board is to make sure that the practice of architecture is done properly. It is properly regulated. The quality that we give our clients is good. The quality of training that we give in the schools of architecture is also good, and a whole lot of other things. That's the role of the board, and we can make laws to cover all of those things, right? Now, so what are these? The definition, when I was asking, bylaw is a rule adopted by an organization chiefly for the government, in fact, it's not government, the governance of its members and the regulation of its affairs. A local ordinance. It's just a local ordinance. So we have to make sure that if there is any law that we have to pass, you must know that, in fact, regularly, we should be able to compile a list of bylaws and update it every year. We should be able to get the agency, the Access Registration Council, to compile a list of bylaws. Have you ever been arrested by a police and when he starts reading to you the criminal code and all those kind of things? Today, I went from Kumasi to Bekwai and then came straight. Yeah, when I got to the office, that's when I was told that I thought it was tomorrow. You know, I was really driving fast. At a certain point, I was doing like 110 miles per hour. And some policeman stopped me. When I parked, I just went reverse and I asked him that. I said, officer, what is your decision? How do you decide which car to stop and what do you guys do? Then he put his hands behind him. We must be guided by laws. Is my car suspicious? Or this is a bribable person, somebody I can take money for? You understand what I'm saying? So someday, and me after me and the police, we always have problems. The other time, some Kofodia place and the woman, some trotro passed, the brake light wasn't working. Then when she saw my car, she stood up and came and stopped my car. As I said, why didn't you stop it? The brake light's in there. I said, out here. I said, sorry, sir. They are not even confident. So bylaws, by the others, a rule made by a company or society to control the actions of its members. Let's try and understand this. What kind of bylaw would you have passed if you were the registrar? Give me one. Give me one bylaw. Don't talk about bylaws about salary. Don't try. Yes, what bylaw? What bylaw would you come up with?
Okay, for me, basically, I'll form an investigative body or a kind of how do you call it? A task force.
So, you see, like a task force to investigate
Or like who are acting illegally, those illegal are here.
Good. So there are practices in the country that are basically illegal from the way he is saying it, and it's a very, very good idea. However, before you go and arrest them, you must list the laws. If those laws are not already captured in the law, if it is not there, if those practices are not, those illegalities that you see is not already in the law, then you are going to then pass the bylaws to catch the things that they could escape with. I don't know if you understand that is the purpose of the bylaw. So let me give this example. If you come into the country and you are practicing as an architect already, and you are not a Ghanaian, you are not registered you are not on a list of registered architects and everything, it is already illegal. What other bylaws are we going to pass to make sure that it will catch more people? So we can add a bylaw to say that if you patronize, if you are any institution or private body and you patronize the services of an illegally practicing architect, you are also complicit to the person thriving in Ghana. That law is not being passed by Parliament, but that can be passed as a bylaw. I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about. The bylaws are not, it's not the law. It's not the law itself. They are regulations that the institutions can bring up to make sure that it makes the law a bit more watertight. Do you understand? So that's a rule adopted. It is not an existing law. You adopt that law. Do you understand it? You see, so adopted by an organization chiefly for the governance of its members and the regulation of its affairs. Are you clear with that, or should I explain further? Yes, you want to ask a question?
So, in what you just said, it is enforceable by GIA or ARC. Is it enforceable by Ghana laws? Is it enforceable by Ghanaian law, or it is enforceable by just ARC?
Is it impossible to force the law?
The enforcement of the law. Is it going to be enforced by ARC, or is it going to be enforced by Ghanaian law? Okay.
Guys, let me give you examples. Let me give you examples. What is the Professional Association of Pharmacists? What is the name given to the Professional Association of Pharmacists? Yep. Pardon me. No, it's wrong. It's not pharmacists. What is the Professional Association of Pharmacists? Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana. That is the Professional Association of Pharmacists. What is the regulator for pharmacists? Pharmacy Council. Pharmacy Council is the one that the law backs. The Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana is a private, it's the aggregation of the professionals in the country. Their activities is not subvented by government. Do you understand, Brian? So the Pharmaceutical Society, when it comes to the governance and the regulation of pharmacists, the Pharmaceutical Council is the one that will produce beyond all their laws, to produce their bylaws. So that if you are a tabletop selling medicine, and then you decide that, as part of your medicine that you be selling, you add a little bit of Indian hemp to something, it to spice stuff. Do you understand what I'm saying? So by the time they see those things, they don't have to wait and go to parliament, because they understand that some law has to be passed quickly to make sure that the thing is regulated. So those laws, the government, the parliament of this country has given these regulatory bodies to be able to have laws that would manage the affairs of the people they regulate very quickly. Yes. It's not my 10-member board. Oh. It is our 10-member board. No. The air, nobody, there's nobody is represented more than anybody. Nobody is represented more than anybody. No, it's from GIA. The registrar is from GIA. 5 architects from GIA. Architects from Ministry of Works and Housing. 70%, 70 to 80% of the governing board is made up of architects. No, ARC is not an organization. It's an agency. They are architects working for government there. They are representing government there. It is ARC is not an association. No. It's not an institute. ARC is an agency under the Ministry of Works and Housing. It is set up to make sure that registration of architects is done properly. That's all. It is not an association. There's nobody there the staff there do not belong. They are not GIA members. The staff there, they are not GIA members. So they are not similar as units. So you don't get it. The Pharmaceutical Society has got members on the Pharmacy Council. The Pharmacy Council is an agency that will pick members to come and help us to regulate the general masses of the membership. So it is not ARC bringing anybody. ARC doesn't bring anybody. ARC is not at any institution. ARC doesn't nominate anybody. Look at the 10. Nobody is nominated by the ARC. Or you don't get it. Are you confused? I can go ahead and confuse you a bit more. What's the time? We have about 40 minutes. Okay. All right. Do you have any more questions? Yes.
So I want to know.
Online. Who is coordinating the good questions? To your colleague, to the colleague. So if there is anybody who wants present online, pick it up and let them know.
Okay, so I wanted to know, in our field of work, when we send an invoice to a client, I mean, even though it's a contract basis, there are certain cases when they are unable to pay you fully. In that case, sometimes the amounts are not too heavy in such a way that you have to involve a lawyer. In such cases where the client has to pay you, let's just assume 1,000 cedis. How does GIA or ARC help you to get that money, even though there was a contract?
Charlie, how much will you pay me from? Okay, so guys, I will. Let me try and finish. I'd like to take some of those miscellaneous questions, basically because it has to do with certain legal structures we don't have in the country. There is an article that I have this. My blog is gongonbita.com. There is an article that I've written on which boss, what's your name? Hey, are you related to the NDC guy? That guy, he talks nonsense. Wow, don't be so. Charlie, there is an article that I've written. It is the phenomenon of uncompleted buildings in Ghana on Gongon Bita. Maybe you can look for it and share. There is a certain part of it which pays attention to contractual obligations between you and your client. So, for instance, if I am coming to work for you, I come up with professional indemnity, right? So that if my services that I give you is not correct, you can fall on my insurance and then and get your money back. So that is some form of performance bond, right? Now, the client has not got any obligation to perform financially and make sure that they pay you. The client hasn't got that. It doesn't happen in a lot of countries like that. There are so many countries where you have to also give a payment bond. Have you ever heard of a payment bond before? You haven't heard of payment. That's why I said we can treat that one separately. There are certain countries that, for instance, as part of I'm doing a small job in Kenya, working on the Ghana High Commission in Kenya. The contract was signed such a way that the client, which is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Republic of Ghana, gave a payment bond to the contractors that in case you do the work and it is done and I don't have money, go to my insurance companies and go and take my money. You understand what I'm saying? There are clients, we need a regime where our clients will give us payment bonds. So that the moment he's not willing to pay, you go to their insurance companies. But that's why I'm saying that it's not a conversation for just the ARC thing. It's a practice thing. So maybe later we can talk about it. The officers of the fund, the officers and the fund management board may appoint a secretary and other officers and employees. The board can establish a fund. They can also invest in securities. Accounts must be audited annually in accordance with the Constitution. The ARC's accounts must be audited. Whilst we were here, the auditors just passed. They are being audited. So they must be audited every year. And the accounts for the preceding year as audited shall be approved by the members of the annual general meeting. When they finish auditing it, it must come for us to approve it. When I wrote that, the chairman called me and said, Tony, this thing, where is it in the law? I said, I read it in the law. You understand what I'm saying? There must be a certain level of transparency. Our agency cannot just spend money anyhow and not and be able to come to the members that this is how. If they regulate us, we should also regulate them. You understand what I'm saying? So, but we want it to be enhanced. Now, qualifications and restrictions. Before you can become a member, a person who has qualified must first pass your professional practice examination as prescribed by the board and complete practical training within prescribed period. The Central University requires 3 years before you can write the exam minimum. KNUST 2 years before you can write the exam. That is what is prescribed by the board. A person who has passed the qualified examination of any society or institute of architects, if somebody has passed the professional practice of Royal Institute of British Architects in the UK, when the person comes, the person, if the ARC and the GIA accepts that you have already passed the exams at RIBA, right? The law says that we must accept you. So the people who were coming to Ghana and writing professional exams, we're asking ourselves, aren't we duplicating the same activity? Okay, let's welcome the registrar of the Access Registration Guide. You can clap for him, clap for him. Charlie. If you be quiet nearby you, Charlie. Charlie, 1 minute, 1 minute. All right. So hello. Let's listen. You see, so a lot of us, we have had instances where people who have written RIBA Part 3 come to Ghana. Then they come and sit in these lectures and then they write the exams again. Now, is it right or wrong? I want to listen to you first, and then I'll you haven't spoken. Yes. Is it okay? The person has written the exam. The law says that a person who has qualified, who has passed the professional examination of the Society of Institute of Architects approved by the board, equivalent to the status of the institute, which is like DIA. Somebody that has passed the Nigerian Institute of Architects exam, right? It's the same quality as ours. And he comes there, he says, oh, you can't have that. But you must come and write the exam before we do the exam. What do you think? Tell me. Yes. Let's say.
If it's equivalent to the to what we are writing here, then I think we have to stick to the law.
Is your mother a lawyer? Okay. Don't worry. No, wait.
Yeah, I think they can write it, but yes, the reason why they should write it is because they don't know some of our laws and regulations, so they will have to look.
Write all the papers.
Yes.
Okay, Meba, make her come your yard. No, wait. We with the shortest in front. Yes. Yes. Yeah, boss.
Because we have something we call CCC.
CCC, what's that?
Culture, Climate, and Construction. Our construction here might be different from there.
But you are not writing an exam on architecture. You are writing an exam on the milieu of practice. So we are talking. You guys get my argument. There is a law. Who has the law? Who has the architect? Who has the law? They must come and write. Yes. No, CCC people there. Charismatic Christian, charismatic embassy or whatever.
I don't think they should. What I think is there should be a special exams to assess them, because, like she said,
Special exam like what?
based on our laws, that we've treated some of the topics.
What did you treat? Did you look at the closing regulation?
Yes. Now, yes.
Okay.
Yes, and this
And then
are
what else did you learn?
the EPA.
African fire.
No, not yet.
EPA.
Yes.
Who got EPA? The lady.
Yes. Yes. And
Did you use any of my buildings that have collapsed? Go on.
yes, so I believe that the environment they find themselves in, they will have to learn new things from the environment based on our rules and regulations.
I tend to agree with you. I think she's the one who has gotten closest. But you see, especially when you don't know the answer, you cannot tell whether you have said sensible things or not. Let's clap for her. I think she's the one who has gotten close. You see, if you look at the bulk of the questions that we are asking, or what you have been taught, there are certain things that are standard, right? So things like like Steiner taught you guys, right? Steiner Wood came to teach you about project management. It's universal. The architect in the UK would have even learned it better. In fact, Steiner, I've had instances with Steiner. Steiner is a very good friend of mine, where we have discussed liability, professional liability, construction liability, and how it goes all the way to subcontractors, independent subcontractors, dominated subcontractors, domestic subcontractors, and all those kind of legal things, and how it affects this thing. But the point is that they are architects. They are better architects, or better learned because the scale of jobs may be bigger. You understand what I'm saying? It's not that they are better, but when the scale of job is bigger, you basically experience architecture differently. You understand what I'm saying? Certain liabilities and things like that. So, but the person comes. What is it that the architect who has passed RIBA doesn't know about Ghana? Those are the things we need to discuss and find out whether they should be examinable or only through interviews or something. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because the law says that if the person has qualified and that professional institute is equivalent, if the GIA and ARC knows that RIBA is equivalent to GIA, and the person has passed the exams. If we let the person come and write the exams again, we are going against the law. That's why I like what she's saying, that there are certain things. So the certain things are the CCC people, where you're talking about culture, building regulations, local bylaws, and things like that. Our setbacks is completely different from what you have in the UK. Our ventilation standards are different from what. So do they have to write exams? Because if they write exams, they have gone against this law. So I put in a proposal. I sent it to the ARC that we should have a special purpose interview where we interview them on the PPA Act, for instance, our local building regulations, and the local information things. I mean, look, let's take this man's boss. David Ajayi comes to Ghana. He's coming to do the National Cathedral. Say, come and write professional exam before we let you do the National Cathedral. Who are the presidents? When he picks up the call, hello, David. You understand what I'm saying? These are the facts. And I want us, whilst we are reviewing the act, we will come to this point where we have to come and engage members of the Ghanaian Institute of Architects. And by that time, 100% of you should pass. You understand? So in all of those things, we have to find a structure able to admit them without violating the law. Kind of proposal I've taken it to the ARC, and we have tried it once. We tried it last year. We interviewed some guys and stuff before I filed the professional exam. We failed one person, but the recommendation was not well. The person didn't really grasp our subject well. The Public Procurement Act is at the center of the things we do, right? So if I ask the question on Public Procurement Act, who is taking for PPA? For Public Procurement Act, anybody teaching you that? You have to ask me more questions on that. I'll tell them. Yes.
Okay, so I agree with the fact that those coming with equivalent RIBA can take a certain set of exams, interviews. Right. But then my question is that do you have any information as to whether in the UK they recognize GIA as equivalent to RIBA?
Now, I agree with it. I think give a round of applause. It's good. What actually I said was that I think I asked the board chair that is it possible, or the exams, I think, at the JATI, is it possible for us to come up with a list of institutions that we recognize? That if you come from these institutions, these are the exams that you take. If you don't come from any of them, you write the exams. That is why our law is also outdated. You understand what I'm saying? That's why it is outdated. So I agree with you. We must have a mutual, so it's like a bilateral relationship. If RIBA will recognize us, we'll recognize them. If NIA will recognize us, we'll recognize them. So right? So that's the kind of thing. So that is also a very good thing. So those things can be put in the amended law. Any more questions? Yes.
Currently, when they come with these qualifications, do they work here for a bit? Or
you see, you can come into the country without a license by partnering with a local architect on a specific project. That is the law. So if somebody comes, look, there's sometimes these jobs they are coming to build. I'm doing some work with wildlife. Some Italian sat in Italy and decided that they were going to do some training school for the wildlife division or the forestry commission or something. And they did the thing in a hexagonal manner. And then they did honeycomb to cover the whole of the wall to put, and then the windows. So it's like a double leaf, 600 mm apart, or like 900 mm apart or something. So it's like when you stand outside, you see the thing like honeycomb. Elevation wise, it makes a lot of sense. I'm like, you can have snakes hiding inside all of that place. So I thought that when I got there, they had built it. I'm like, who are the any free honeymoon? because they done it. The people sit out there and they did it. Now, because state institutions usually are exempted from permit, they didn't have the opportunity to review it. And they've done all sorts of things. They do all sorts of things. Because the people assume that the way they are taught what tropical architecture is all about is not what we know. But when you come here, so like somebody came, I was working with some architect from the US, and he had done some doors, put some doors here. This is, I said that no, you have to put window sills. He said, why? He wants the building to look very neat. I said, it rains here, it will mess up your paint. Then they were talking, I said, every wall must have a coping. A lot of architects don't do that. And I'm like, I won't do that. And they have doors facing the east. I said, all of the rain will beat it. It will be rotting. If it is still, it will rust. We have high salinity levels. They didn't mind me. So at the point, I told them that I don't want the job. They said they owed me $17,000. I said, I don't like this, take it. The point is that all these people who come from outside to come and work must be localized. They must be provided with local information. You, as the local person trained here, has the building regulations. You have our local bylaws. You have our local acts. You have our local fire regulations. You have our local planning laws, which you guys, so when they come and they want to come and work, they will use you as the local architect. You will endorse the drawings. You understand what I'm saying? That's what happens. That's what happens. But most of the time when they come, a lot of the things they do, we have done some work with them, and at the point you just tell them to go in peace. A person who is a member of the GIA immediately before the commencement of this act, if you were already an architect before 1969, you are okay, you become a member. It is not too much of a problem. To qualify as an architect practicing in this country, you must be a Ghanaian and you must be above 21. If you hurry up and you finish a school of architecture before you are 21, you cannot become an architect in Ghana. What? Who said? What's your problem? You must be above 21 to be an architect. You don't know that? Oh, I'm surprised. If you are non-resident, if you are not resident, a non-resident in the Republic of Ghana, you cannot become an architect. If you are less than 21 years, you cannot become an architect. If you do not pay your subscription, you cease to become an architect. If you have evidence of mental problems, you cannot be an architect. A person of an unsound mind, if you have mental health issues, sometimes people like me, we get angry quickly. You cannot become an architect. If you have been convicted of an offense involving fraud or dishonesty, you cannot become an architect. If you are adjudged to be insolvent or bankrupt, if you cannot pay your bills, you cease to become an architect. Charlie, any questions? Yes. I beg. In my class, everybody calls me Tony. Yes. So I beg you, call me. I have a name.
Tony, please, can you explain the part about if you were a member of the GIA before 1969? The Architect Act. Yeah, 69, yeah.
You know Professor Uswadu, right? Yeah, those people, they are pre-act. They are pre-act architects. Now, inquiries by disciplinary committee and suspension and appeals. The name of a person shall not be struck off the register unless there is a disciplinary committee that has given a fair hearing. Social justice. Social justice. If anybody is found to have committed any crime or swindled any client and the person is reported to the Architect Registration Council. The Architect Registration Council will put together an investigative committee, and then the investigative committee would come up with a report, and then we will face a disciplinary committee. Now, the board has the power to suspend a registered architect for a period. A person aggrieved by a decision of the board may appeal against the decision to the High Court. In the Professional Bodies Registrations Act, it says that to the appeals court. So whatever, but you can go to the High Court. A person whose name is not in the register shall not take the title architect or any form of it. If you people decide to call yourself architects, you have flouted the law. So I asked Professor Dua that when I finish my architecture training and I'm a probationer, am I a bed? So he said, yeah, but Sinatoni, I said, yeah, but we want them to be part of us. They have trained to become young architects, right? So we are saying that we cannot call themselves architects. Can we distinguish between architects and chartered architects? That whether you're a chartered, like a chartered accountant, somebody who is finished accounting is an accountant. Why can't we say that somebody who has finished architecture is an architect, and that when you pass your professional exam, you are a chartered architect? Don't you agree with me? You can add that to your campaign list. Now, the board, in lieu of exercising its powers under Section 13, suspend the registered architects for the period it considers fit. A person aggrieved by the decision under Section 11, 13, and 15 may appeal against the decision to the High Court. Petition should be in writing, bearing the right stamp, lodged with 3 months after the date, within 3 months of the date of decision, subject to the rules of court, be decided by the High Court after. So, if the ARC puts together a committee and punishes you, and you do not agree within 3 months, if you do not write against or take it for appeal, and it goes beyond the 3 months, it cannot be dealt with in court. You understand what I'm saying? Within 3 months, when you are aggrieved, you must make sure that you write. Yeah.
I wanted to ask if the GI also does the same thing, like can take an architect on and,
Yes, the GIA can do the same thing, but there are caveats. You see, for a very long time, the Architects Registration Act, the Architects Registration Council it wasn't properly established. It was only established, though the law was passed in 1969, it was only established in 1997. So for a very long time, the Ghana Institute of Architects was playing the role of both a regulator and a professional association. So we even have conflicts in nomenclature when we say GIA Council and then ARC Council. The GIA Council is the executives, right? We should be able to talk about the executive body, but not the council. But it's difficult for it to change. If you try to change it, the old people too will not agree. So we are there. You understand what I'm saying? But in actual fact, the GIA also does some of these hearings. I've had instances where when I'm looking for adjudication, I write to both bodies, and then they will decide the arrangement that they want to do, so that you don't you are not diminishing any of them. Because sometimes the GIA said that, oh, you should have complained to us. Why are you complaining to the registrar? But the registrar has a legal, but it's binding. And the law says that if they take the decision and you have a problem, you can either go to the High Court or go to the Court of Appeal. You understand what I'm saying? Are you okay? Improper use of the terms implying registration, subject to Section 17, if not registered under the Act. Carrying the word architect, architecture, architectural, or any words, initials, or abbreviation is unlawful. This does not apply to naval architects. So if you're a probationer and you write architect, what's your name?
Salom.
Salom what?
Huto.
So architect Salom Huto. Say, what is your number? If you can't give me your number, it means that you have flouted the law. As if it doesn't, I think it's an old thing, right? You're an architect. You're an architect. You are just not chartered, right? So these are some of the things. But I want you guys to understand it so that when we start there, we'll do some stakeholder meeting. I want you to come and listen and be asking questions. You get it? But the questions are hard, though. You need to read the law. Now, so yes. Your name I always forget to. Charlie, you have to write it on your forehead. Yes.
Selenu. Yes. So who penalizes the draftsman?
She's asking me who penalizes the draftsman. Charlie, look. You see, some of these questions, I'll group them under lamentations of young architects. I'll come back to it. Now, 2 years ago, guys, pay attention. 2 years ago, there was a question. The question was this: an architect died, and his successor was using his stamp for 4 years. And he was, and the question was asking whether it was illegal to use that stamp over the period of 4 years. And I'm not talking about the personal stamp of the architect. You're talking about his firm's stamp. The name of my firm is Tecton Consult. I am dead. My assistant, who is a successor, is running the company and stamping my drawings, Tecton Consult, for 4 years. Is it illegal? Why did you breathe in plenty like that? Are you dead? You wanted to see whether you were not dead. Okay.
I don't think it's illegal.
Why do you think it?
Because the person's your partner, and
No, the person is not my partner.
your successor. So since the Tecton Consult was registered, it's a firm that is registered under GIA. So it has its own validity to function without the principal architect. So I think yes.
I think it only becomes illegal if
Quiet. You people have come to you.
it only becomes illegal if the firm's registration or subscription has expired and you're still using it under the.
Okay, guys, what I want you to try not to do in writing this professional exam is don't use common sense. Dangerous. Don't use common sense. I beg. No, all of you. It's not for her, it's all of you. The way this girl was doing like that. All of you. Yes. You have so much to say. Are you who are talking here? No. Tell me who talks. Yes. Talk. Yes.
So in my opinion, you can't practice after the principal architect is dead. Yes.
Yes.
For a company, when you are registering, there are various types of companies, and people have their board.
Architecture company.
Okay, so you have a board that governs the company. So when you are registering, maybe you are with a partner when you register the company. So,
So I'm going to tell you, you have faith in what? You have faith in the architect. So when the man is dead, please, the University of Common Sense people are talking. Wait.
So since the company is run,
Quiet. Pay attention. Guys, it's very important.
since the firm is run in the name of the principal architect, after the principal architect is passes on, I think whoever is taking on the position of the principal architect has to inform the institute of the person, because that person has been registered in the GIA as.
So clap louder. Do you think you made sense? Okay, all right. Senenu. Yes.
I believe that bylaws or laws that govern um, companies that are registered as architectural firms. So if it falls under it, that I don't know the law, but if it says that, yeah, but if it says that if the company is registered, I believe the company is registered separately from the architect. So the stamp belongs to the company, meaning that if he dies, the company, depending on the duration of the time that the company needs to use that stamp, if it is expired, then he needs to renew and use as a company.
Okay. Charlie. In fact, nobody is correct. Too. You one last wrong answer.
So we learned that for you to be able to even run an architecture firm, you're supposed to practice for 10 years. 10 years. Like,
A decade of footmanship. Who has read that my article? When I wanted to register as an architect, the registrar said that we haven't done 10 years. They won't allow us to register. I said I won't agree. So I started fighting with the registrar. It was bad. They said they don't allow me to publish my business. I went back and I published the article. And I gave it to that time they weren't computed. Who copied and gave it to people. Started fighting. They called me and they gave me my life.
yeah. So, like, if there is that law that states that for you to own a firm, you're supposed to practice for a number of years. And in this case, the person that registered the firm used his profile, I mean, his experience in the registration of the firm, and now the person is no more. It kind of nullifies the architecture firm too as well.
Hello.
It may be a wrong answer too, but a wrong answer. It may be. Okay, so I know Tecton has a stamp as a company. Yes, and I know Tony Asari also has a stamp as a person. So
What your thing is likely correct, but also not correct, and I'll explain. Okay, that's what this slide is about. So that's why I'm asking for you.
So if that year I'm even supposed to even submit my forms, and as a probationer, I get Tecton to stamp it for me because it's registered, like they are in good standing, and Tony Asari is not maybe in good standing. Tecton should. Yes. So if you are dead and I have your company. You actually got the stamp for the company, but now
The company is not valid.
the company is valid. You helped get the company registered. So I think that even without you,
Even without me, the company should go on. No, but you see, she said, who said that they have the faith? You talked about faith in the person. Okay, meaning that the company and the founder is the same. That's what you are talking about. Okay, all right. We'll come back to you. Yes. Fine.
Okay, so I believe once the owner of the company is no more, it doesn't mean currently projects running shouldn't go on.
Fantastic.
And then
Yes, go on.
and then it also doesn't mean currently the people employed shouldn't. Yes.
So their salary should go on.
Yes, for some time.
Okay, for some time.
Yes.
Okay, guys. So here is the thing. We have somebody who has died. Architectural firm. The person dies. Okay. Now, when the person dies, I'm dead. Let's say that I'm dead. I'm running a company. I'm working for 5 firms, 5 companies. I'm doing APSA. I'm doing maybe the second phase of the cathedral. Or I have 4-5 projects I'm carrying out. Right? I have 4-5 projects I'm carrying out. And then I'm dead. The company has to run. The funeral has been done. A successor to run the firm should be selected. How do we select a successor to run the firm? How? That is the first question you must ask. How do you run a successor to run the firm? How will you select a successor? Yes. Wait. You are speaking with bedroom voice. Wait, I'm coming. Papa. How do you select a successor to run the firm? Quiet. Pay attention. No local action. Yes, go on.
Based on the criteria for selecting somebody who can own an architecture firm.
So the criteria for the selection of a successor is based on the previous slides. Is the person mentally retarded? 21 years? Has he written his professional exams? You understand what I'm saying? The successor must be a qualified architect. First and foremost, the successor, the fact that I am an Ashanti man, and they say my Wafase now is going to be my successor, doesn't mean that my successor, who is selling at Abosokai spare parts, has got money, is the one going to run my firm. The successor that is going to be nominated to run the firm must be a qualified architect, first and foremost. This is what I was expecting to hear from everybody else. That first, a successor must be somebody who is qualified. We know the qualification. Must have passed his professional exams, must be of above 21 years, must be of sound mind, shouldn't have been bankrupt. Yes, resident in Ghana. So if you don't write those 5 things, and I'm giving you 2 marks for each, you just say that the successor, if you don't give me the qualification of that successor, 10 marks, 0. Now, do you understand the whole thing? So first and foremost, a successor is selected to run. That successor must have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 qualities. That's 1. 2, the governing board must be informed of the demise of that architect. The ARC actually keeps a list of dead architects register. They don't publish it in the newspapers. They are not in good standing, they are dead standing. You understand what I'm saying? Now, you need to not really, you see, when you run a firm, you hardly use your personal stamp unless you are stamping people's passports. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't know whether, but it is something worth considering. I think that maybe individual stamps must be recalled when you die, but I don't know that one yet. Okay. Now, with that, under the management, you can practice with the stamp of that person for 5 years. For 5 years. So if the person had run the firm for 4 years, for 5 years, until the 5th year, but within that, you must report to the Architect Registration Council for the registrar to have it on the register of diseased architects, right? Now, and the representative who is the new manager or the person running the firm must every year report to the board until the 5th year, when maybe directors are then changed. But just as she was saying that she may not, the architects, the firm has to run. No, you were saying that the firm has to run. So you don't change the structures. Apart from the successor who is nominated, who is a qualified architect, you don't change you don't change the thing. Then later, the documentation is changed before the new directors of the firm will then become this thing. So, for instance, if you take Dewega, Grutter, Brown, and Partners, Dewega is dead, Brown is dead. It's only Grutter who is left, I think. Is anybody here who works with Dewega? But you know of Adote Brown's firm, right? And they are very old. There's a very old firm, very experienced firm. I mean, Adote Brown was my external examiner when I was in first year in 1990. Right? He designed the Ghana Commercial Bank at Circle. They designed the Nestle head office. You see? So when he is no more, there is an architect who is standing in the stead of the other partners. But the person must first and foremost be qualified. But the person can run the firm with the current documentation for at most 5 years. Are you okay? Yes, please. You want to ask a question?
This is quite personal. Is that why most architects send their kids to architecture school? Because I know most architects have their
This one I just won't cause confusion. Look, my daughter is in final year at KNUST. When she was going to first year, I told her that she should go and find a better course to do. This course, architecture course. Then all of them, the whole house, everybody, the way women approach things, they use tears and quietness. They don't mind you and these kind of things. And she's gonna architecture. Second year, she says she wants to change the course. So you do it. That's her cousin. They so confusing. Look, the architecture. But you guys, do you like the profession? Do you like it? You were the one who were asking whether you enjoy the architecture. And you were giving us raps plenty. Do you guys like this profession? If you want to change, is this the time? Oh, look, seriously, when I got out of school, let me tell you what I really wanted to do. I'm not joking. I just wanted to sell yam. Seriously. Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. Charlie, it doesn't matter. Look, you know what? When I was in first year, I went to a site for Lutheran Church at a place up north of Kintampo, a place called Babatokuma. And I wanted to, I went with my uncle. It was a very quiet, dark site without lights in some bush. We're building some churches. So I told my uncle that I should tell the foreman that I had dropped out of school and I wanted to learn to do steel bending. So that's what my uncle told them. So I was like errand boy for the site. So I was learning to do styrops, tying rings and things. I'll do it. When we went on break, then the man would send me to go to town to go and buy yam. I'll walk out, go and buy fried yam and come. My uncle would start teasing me, and I cry. Can you go school of architecture? I said, no. I learned how to do steel bending in first year. That's what I didn't go for any internship. That's what I did. I learned at the Interpol place. That's when I realized how much money there was in yam. That's the time I wanted to go and start selling yam. I wouldn't be here. I would have been happy to my nice Batakari and big, nice Land Cruisers like 6 in my house. This architect, how many architects have you seen buying even 2 Land Cruisers before? So that's it about dead relatives. Yes.
Because concerning this, how after the 5 years, okay, so after the 5 years elapses, what happens to the name of that firm?
You can just change directors. You don't necessarily have to. You can just change directors, the names of the directors. The firm can be kept. Yeah. In fact, you see, that's the reason why sometimes when you name your firm after you yourself, it becomes some way. I mean, look, Zaha Hadid, her company still publishes a lot of very interesting designs. And they are still keeping to the fluid philosophical designs of it, how they do all those, their malleable looking buildings. And they say Zaha Hadid, and then a man will come. And it's like, this is a life successor. You understand? So, I mean, I had, when I was forming my firm, I had the option of choosing Asari and Associates. It's not like this sound nice like Ajayi and Associates. But you know, Asari and Associates. It's Asari and Associates. Charlie, it's like you sell plywood. You know? You know, so these are some of the things. You know, but it's a very broad conversation. What do we do? How do we approach nomenclature? Right? How do we approach nomenclature? What is in the name? You understand what I'm saying? Because the moment you are no more, if you live as if you are going to live forever, then you have a mental problem. You shouldn't be an architect. You are not of sound mind. Do you get it? Annual practicing certificate. We've discussed everything on this paper before. A registered architect cannot practice unless he or she is a holder of an annual practicing certificate, which is in force. ARC issues certificate upon application. It's valid up to 31st December. Even if you pay subscription on 30th December, it is only valid to 31st December. It is not valid for a year. I said that it is valid up to what? 31st December. Why? What is your problem? A person who has practiced undertakes, if you are practicing whatever, the breaches, the person who practices or undertakes to practice in breach of this section is liable to a summary conviction to a fine not exceeding 20 penalty points units per day, which offense continues, whatever. So this is a typical annual practicing certificate. I think this was my annual practicing certificate for last year. This you haven't paid though. I have to go and pay. It's plenty money. So you see the name, right? Then you see the standing register. You see my number there, right? And then expiry date, 31st December. Date of issue, 23rd January. So it doesn't matter. The date of issue and the date of expiry is not a year. It is annual practice. It is for that specific year. Are you okay? You wanted to ask a question, and I skipped you. You're okay. Okay, I'm sorry. So interpretations. Board means governing board of the council. Anytime you read the law and you see board, it means the governing board. Chairman means the chairman of the board, right? Council means the Architects Registration Council established under Section 1. And please, I'll give you the law. Go and read it. If any day you think that you want to listen to this conversation again, gather yourself anywhere. I'll come and talk to you about it. You understand? Functions include power and duty. Institute means Ghana Institute of Architects. Anytime you read it. Member means member of the board. Member in the law doesn't mean you and I. A member is one of the 10 of the board members on the council. Are you with me? Minister means minister responsible for works, not works and housing. Minister means minister responsible for works, not minister for works. Professional misconduct means an act or omission which is specified in the second schedule. The second schedule is there. Register means register of architects kept in accordance with section 12 of the act. Secretary means secretary to the council. Now, so let's start. The minister may legislate, may by legislative instrument on the recommendations of the board make regulations for in respect of a matter relating to or connected to the functions of the council. That is how the minister can make a law. If the minister decides that they want to even come up with a bylaw, this is the process. He will speak with the board. The board means what? The governing board, the 10, and make regulations. The minister may, on the recommendations of the board by legislative instrument, amend the schedules 1 and 2. So the disciplinary committee, if there is any new law that has come that the law doesn't cover, they can amend schedule 1 and schedule 2. They can amend it. You understand? The minister can change it. They got the power to do that. So anything concerning regulations or anything concerning misconduct can easily be changed. Let's look at schedule 1. Let me see how many. I think what's the time? We'll close. Your response is here. For an inquiry, so let's say that there is an issue. You have been reported to the council. For an inquiry, 6 persons, including the chairman, the legal advisor, and secretary, So anytime that they form an inquiry, the chairman, the legal advisor, and the secretary to constitute the disciplinary committee. So disciplinary committee is made up of 6 people, but the chairman is part, the legal advisor is part, and then the secretary is part. All right. Charges to be investigated is prepared by the board, and the secretary to the committee shall transmit to each member. Same for a petition. So if somebody wants to make a petition or somebody wants to come up with this a charge against you, they prepare it and give it to everybody. Right? Let me finish and then we'll take your question. Notices for inquiry would be transmitted not less than 14 days before the date fixed for the inquiry. So if you are going to be getting a hearing, you should at least be giving 14 days ahead, 2 weeks before they invite you. They cannot on maybe March 1st write to you and tell you that by March 10th you should come for an inquiry. If the thing doesn't reach the 14 days, the law has been flouted. Legal representation is allowed, and in the absence, the hearing could also still take place. Even if there is a hearing, you can bring your lawyer. But if the lawyer is not there, we can still do the hearing. It does not negate the power of the committee. Note that it is an offense not to appear before this committee. So if they call you and you say that you disrespect them and you don't come, it is an offense. And the council here is not a private council. It is a government agency. It is a government agency. And guys, let me tell you, the moment the thing is written into law, if you fool, you go to prison. It's as simple as that. Boss, your question. My name is Tony.
Tony, Tony, please. I wanted to know. Okay, the questions are in 2. One is ARC and GIA both governed by the board, or
see that you were sleeping, power.
And my second question is, when it comes to payment of the subscription,
yes,
the yearly one, assuming that 2014 I didn't pay, 2015 can I pay without paying the 2014 one?
This question you're asking, is it nice? It's not like the paying subscription is not like a DVLA license. So if you skip 10 years, you gather all and pay. How many of you know Mrs. Asma? You know Mrs. Asma? When Mrs. Asma was in Rwanda, she came back. She called me and said that, oh, Charlie Tony, go and sort out my subscription. When I went and I gave her the bill, you know, she's screaming, say, you want me to be Jesus? Tony, I'm sick, madam, what the car? If you miss, you pay. You want us to sit there and be busy. Don't worry, we'll get to that. The other thing is that you might have lost a lot of concentration. Listen, the things we are talking about here today has nothing to do with the GIA. Today we are talking about the ARC, which is a government body. The GIA is not part. If you've noticed, I haven't said anything about GIA. I haven't. I'm very conscious of that. I haven't said anything about GIA. We are talking about the government agency and the law that backs it. So it is just for ARC. Pay attention. Just for ARC. Schedule 2. So the Schedule 1 actually was talking about disciplinary committee. How to put the things there. Set up 6, the chairman, the secretary, the legal advisor, That's all it. But even before you set up the disciplinary committee, you must have an investigation. If they come and report, look, let me give you an example. I was doing some work for a client. She's very wealthy Muslim woman, and she my QS partner was also a Muslim and a male, right? I didn't notice that it was going to be a difficult project just by the fact that my male Muslim architect was taking instruction from a female Muslim client. I didn't know that. So she gives instructions. This girl is really tough. She's into computers and stuff like that. And Charlie, she. And you know, yeah, this, and Aziz hasn't done. Charlie, later when I realized that the project was just not viable just because they were dealing with Muslims where males do not really take instructions from females, I had lost the client. It's that simple. You understand? So later somebody could say, but Tony, like for choosing new QS. I didn't know. You understand what I'm saying? Now, when you are supposed to, so when at the point when I realized that every time we had a site meeting, it was almost explosive, I told the client that I just wanted out of the project. So she should find a new architect so that they can take over. It's Charlie Danataya. So she brought in an architect who was my senior, very well respected architect. There are protocols in taking over a project that first and foremost, we must meet, must hand over drawings, we must meet the contractor. And then the architect actually went ahead and started doing measure drawings and stuff like that, you know, and then started making changes to the design. But later I wrote to him and explained to him that these are the drawings, these are the structural drawings. These ones have maybe 99% have been complied with in the construction and all of that. You know, eventually they did some strange cantilever which collapsed and almost killed somebody. But the moment you have flouted the process, that the processes, the protocols for taking over a project, it is also misconduct. You understand what I'm saying? It's misconduct. Now, assuming that we have had a situation where in the collapse of the cantilever, it had killed somebody, it is manslaughter. 15 years in prison. Straight. No talking. 15 years. If you are lucky, you can get from 9 to 12 years parole, you can come home. Now, the moment anything like that happens, and we have to set up a committee, there must be an investigation first before a discipline action takes place. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. So the investigative committee usually consists of architects, engineers, quant surveyors, sometimes project managers, depending on the complexity of the project. Then when they put their whole report together, then they will come and give it to the board. The board would then put together an investigative committee, a punishment, a disciplinary committee to look at the punishment, that whether you should be struck off the register, whether you should be suspended, or whether you should just be reprimanded. You can be reprimanded and, you know, just to tell you that, oh, Charlie, don't do this thing again, go in peace. They can withdraw your license for a period. But if it is bad, your name can be struck off the list of architects for you not to practice again. So that is why this thing is very important. Schedule 2 consists of issues to do with misconduct. So we are finishing that. Allowing any other person to practice in the name of the architect as an architect. If you use my name to practice as an architect, it is a misconduct. You should not use somebody else's stamp. Hallelujah. If you go into any partnership with non-architects in the delivery of architectural services, it is seen to be a misconduct. I've never understood this law. I've never understood it. Because but the reason why it is like that is that, for instance, if I decide that as an architect, I'm going into a partnership with a businessman, right? So let me give an example. Maybe the guy is a dealer in iron rods. So maybe say Atala, for instance, and I decide, or Midwest, I decide to go into partnership with him. It is illegal. The reason is that for a very long time, we didn't have professional indemnity. So the moment we have to hold you responsible for your architectural services, the businessman is known as a non-architect, and the professional liability cannot rest with them. So they don't encourage that you and non-architects form your company. You understand what I'm saying? Now, entering into any partnership in a limited liability company. Now, limited liability companies or LLCs are not, in fact, for a long time, if you have a limited liability company registered, when you come to GIA, they don't register your firm. It has to be either privately owned, like single sole ownership or partnerships. The reason is that, you see, limited liability company means that you have a certain limited liability whenever there is a problem. So sometimes people say they've limited their liability level to like maybe 500,000. So if there is a problem, they can sue you and get only 500,000. But if it is a sole proprietorship or a partnership, they can attach your property, your cars, your houses to be able to recover the debt that you cause the client. If not, you have to provide for professional indemnity. But note that this law was enacted in 1969 and the issue of professional indemnity was not there. All these things give you a signal as to why this law is old, right? If you get involved in conflict of interest situations, it is illegal. Look, there are a lot of us in conflict of interest situation. If you want to understand what the meaning of conflict of interest is, if it looks like conflict of interest, it is conflict of interest. The Constitution, when you check, I think Article 254 is a bit explicit on what the Constitution, what the conflict of interest is. If you fail to charge the needed fees, it is a misconduct. If you accept remuneration other than professional fees, commissions, discount, royalties, bribes from contractors, it is illegal. Maybe that must happen. Maybe on the phone. That was like that. Please, that's my register says I should close, so I'm closing. Okay, so if giving monetary considerations for illustrations of work, press, media is also misconduct. Now, if you exhibit the name and signature of a building that exceeds 600 mm is misconduct. Your signage should not be more than 600 mm in height. Attempting to supplant another, if you go and charge a client by undercharging to collect a job, is misconduct. Supplanting is misconduct. Failing to notify another architect when approached or instructed to proceed with professional work on which the other architect was previously employed is misconduct. Working in the public service and carrying out private work when the architect is involved in granting statutory approvals like permits, even if permission is sought from employers, is misconduct. Thank you very much. Oh, don't clap, don't clap. If you clap, it's likely that what I've given you is wrong. My number, 0244 213 405. If you call me, I don't think I'll send you WhatsApp. If you want to send me, I'm going to send. Yes, listen, pay attention.
So concerning supplanting as a misconduct, if an architect supplants another architect and then takes over the project and then does not go through the normal process of course, talking to the other architect, and then takes over the project. And then there is a problem. The liability goes to which of the architects?
The one who's planted.
Okay.
It's just like they were sharing demons. Yes, can you carry that? Yes.
Please, is it still applicable if there was no formal contract between the client and then the previous?
According to the lawyer, they didn't have any contract. I asked them what I was doing their time. Before my father is brother. What am I doing there? You don't, I'm not holding you on your side. What was I doing between you going and contract means that there must be an agreement. It should not necessarily be written. You understand what I'm saying? So the moment your lawyer tries, there was no contract. You are not, we don't belong to the same thinking man. What's the problem? You understand? So as for contract, they are very dangerous areas. Last year there was a question like that. But the tacit acceptance of you being in my yard, when I know that you are in my yard, is an acceptance that you are supposed to register for me. You understand? So now I ask a former contract, I didn't want to do that. A lot of them we ask when they get the credit is nice, they will talk about it. Yes.
We're supposed to follow the program the way we charge, or is there we can't give discounts, or like I want to understand the fee part. I don't really get.
Somebody taught you fees and things.
Yeah, but
where has it? No, as for discounts, you see, listen, fee charges is also another talk. I'm sure this thing, but you can give discounts, but it shouldn't be such that you are using a lower fee to collect a job from somebody. In fact, some of these things, the reason why I don't want to talk about them is that a lot of them go into public procurement, where it is legal for you to offer discounts as part of your fee claim, your fee proposal, and all those things. So it's not cast in stone. And again, have this thing at the back of your mind that this thing was done in 1969, where bargaining and World Bank projects, National Fund for Agri Development, Africa Development Bank, and all those things. All those contractual agreements are different. If you have the chance to do some of those things yourself, you see that fees are not cast in stone. But the whole idea of you accepting obscenely low figure to take somebody off is what supplanting is. You understand? I don't want us to get into figures. It is 4%. 4% is 4%. No, that's not it. It's about the notion that, I mean, for instance, I have domestic buildings for me in my office. It's pro bono. We don't really make money from domestics. We don't want it. So sometimes, instead of taking your small money for you to come and make noise, we'd rather tell you to take it away and go and find someone to build it for you. But we won't waste our time to follow you domestic. Unless if you see me following domestic, then the domestic is a domestic indeed.
So I wanted to find out, so in the case where, or in the instance where you are brought on a project and you realize that the person that was supposedly an architect working on it before you was not an architect, a draftsman, and then you are brought, do you have to come and now engage the draftsman before this?
If the building is bigger than 120 square meters, he's an illegality. Treat him like evil spirit. Yes.
My question is concerning the non-architect, not entering into partnerships with non-architects. Yes. If the person is architecturally trained but not professionally qualified, you can work with the person, no? And enter into partnership.
My opinion. I think. I agree. Yeah. What's the time? It's 5 o'clock. All right. So, guys, I wish you well. If you have any questions, please let me have it. I wish you all the best. I think I'll be an examiner for the last time this year, and for 2 years I'm going on sabbatical. Thank you.